here, which is good. That's something I don't always do. But yeah, we've got some interesting matches that are coming up, and I am very much looking forward to the show. I think it's going to be a good one. I think this hopefully should live up to its billing, and should be a very, very fun night. Let me jump into the chat and say hello to people. Hello to More Than a Sentence. Hope you are well. Tony said, I've bet my money on Jericho winning. Do you know what? That's actually got me inspired. Let's put a poll in the chat, shall we? Let's jump into the chat and see who leaves as interim AEW champion. Let's see who you lot think's going to leave as champion tonight. Do you think it'll be Jericho, or do you think it will be John Moxley? There we go. Yeah, so Moxley against Jericho. We've got that. We've got Darby Allin against Brody King in a coffin match. We've got Lucha Bros taking on La Faction Ingobernables. We've got Jade Cargill taking on Madison Rayne. We've got the return of FTR, which is quite exciting. We've got Starks against Solo. Starks now a face. That's quite exciting. So we've got... that's everything that I think has been announced. Certainly that's everything that I've seen announced. So we've got about 5 or 6 things there to look forward to. I'm really looking forward to FTR, seeing them coming back. Seb said, do you see CM Punk returning tonight and confronting the winner? As Tony has been hyping this show, he said true AEW fans shouldn't miss this show. Do I see CM Punk coming back? I mean, I can definitely see there being a moment. I don't know if it's Punk. I don't know if it's Kenny Omega. I don't actually know where Kenny is on his road to returning. But yes, it is true that Tony Khan has been hyping this. And to give Tony credit, whenever he does kind of hype something, he does come through with a surprise or a moment or something. So I am expecting something from this show in regards to a surprise. Maybe CM Punk is it. But we'll have to wait and see. Daniel said tonight's show does look stacked. I think the coffin match is going to be crazy. Darby Allin and Brody King weeks ago had a great match to open his debut, and they are both as crazy as each other. Brenton said, hi Days, hello, hope you're well, buds, hope you're well. What do you think Tony Khan's big surprise, Omega, ? I think Omega is in the run-in. I think that CM Punk is in the running. I think those probably have got to be the two that are the most likely. I can't say, unless he's gone and got Johnny Gargano, but I don't think so. I don't think he will have done that. But who knows? Maybe he's gone and negotiated it and Johnny signed before Vince left or something. Maybe Johnny walks out, but I don't think it's that. And I don't think it's The Fiend or, Bray. I mean, they can't use The Fiend, but I don't think it's going to be anything like that. But I do expect something. And so, yeah, Kenny or CM Punk would be my 2 favourites. I'm sure Kenny is actually closer than Punk. Apparently, Punk's foot is not healing very well. And he looks like he won't make it at All Out, which was his target. That is really interesting. That's really interesting. And Daniel's in the know as well. Daniel spoke about stuff in the past that's been, pretty bang on. So if Daniel's saying that it looks like CM Punk's struggling, then definitely take note of that. That's interesting. Thank you, Daniel. The Almighty Supreme One said, not a big one, but I'm hoping Buddy Matthews returns to the House of Black. He's been gone now for over 2 months. Justin said, Gargano needs to go back to WWE. His boy Theory needs him. I want him to go back to WWE. I think that he's just a great talent. And I suppose the concern is that as soon as he was done with NXT, you've got to know that Tony Khan picked up that phone. You've got to know that Daniel Bryan picked up that phone, Bryan Danielson, or Maybe CM Punk, who knows? I don't know who they got to call him, but someone surely got in touch because he didn't re-sign, which immediately sends out the message that he is not totally convinced that staying with WWE is right for him. So it really, really, really would not surprise me if once he kind of stepped away, and maybe even before, they might have been tapping him up before, but as soon as he stepped away, he will have had a phone call. He might have mulled it over. He may have made a decision. He might have committed, and then Vince left. So this is, do you know what I mean? This is part of the problem. The only thing I would say is, if WWE couldn't get him, if they had tried and been told, no, it's impossible, he's signed with AEW, I wonder if they would let us know somehow. Because you could potentially ruin, but maybe you wouldn't want to ruining it for him. I'm just thinking, if you're Triple H and you want Johnny Gargano to come into WWE and you're told it can't happen because he's going to debut soon in AEW, would you ruin that? Would you ruin that? You have found out something pretty big about your competition and you could ruin it. You could get it out there. You could easily say, yeah, we tried for Johnny, but unfortunately, looks like he is going elsewhere. And that's all you need to say, really. And, it kind of ruins that story. All of a sudden, then, he's clearly not coming to WWE and he's going to, he's probably not going to Impact. So, it only really leaves either AEW or New Japan. So, and he could work for both. You seemingly can work for both. They've got a decent relationship. So, I don't know. Or do you just not say anything? That's a hard one. Because you could ruin a surprise for your competition, but saying that, are you not just, maybe you're just drumming up the interest in your competition? We all saw what happened when WCW ruined the results of WWF, and they were like, oh, don't bother turning the channel because Mankind wins the title tonight. That'll put butts in seats. And then it was like X amount of hundreds of thousands of people changed the channel because they wanted to see that moment. So sometimes you might ruin, something like that, and it completely backfire on you. And actually what you're doing is you're basically advertising your competition for free. So, I don't know. I think on reflection, I would stay quiet about it. I would stay quiet. And plus also, you probably wouldn't want to ruin it for him, for Johnny. You would want Johnny to have his moment. But it's interesting. Brenton said, hope you are well. What do you think of Tony Khan's big surprise? Answer to that. Think either Omega or CM Punk. Root Beer Float said, does anyone think CM Punk has creative control over his character? I think he does. Yeah, I think he probably does as well. I don't know if he has full creative control or if he's just got the ability to, have input and work with Tony. I would imagine that was a massive deal, and really CM Punk could put pretty much whatever he wanted in that. If you can get CM Punk and ensure that not only are you getting one of the biggest names in wrestling, but, he's not going back to your major rivals. Not only are you getting him, but your rival is not getting him. You could put in a lot of terms there. So I don't know for a fact that was in there, but I would imagine there was some degree of it. Even if it's not total, I reckon there's at least something in there. People put in MJF returning tonight. It's not likely. Do you think Tony Khan would hype that? MJF returns, keep the storyline in shape and as realistic as it could be. I agree. I don't think Tony Khan hypes an MJF return because that story is meant to be that he is, he's basically gone AWOL. He's gone off the rails. He's upset with AEW and upset with Tony Khan and all of that kind of stuff. So, unless they have negotiated and sorted their problems and now they're on the same page and Tony is going to bring him back. And, tonight is the night where MJF returns as a happy MJF. He's fine. He's got the contract he wants now. and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think that's the story that they're trying to tell. So I agree. I don't think that he would hype up an MJF return. I'm loving all this talk, though, because it's really interesting, like, digging into it. Because I can totally understand why people would think MJF could be the person. I would totally understand, because it's one of the bigger storylines that's happening. But I do agree. I think for the story, it doesn't make a great deal of sense. What are your thoughts on Hook being FTW champion, says Stephanie. It's a good question as well. I don't mind it. I mean, that belt is probably the lowest belt you can win. So, but it is a belt, and it does allow him to carry some, and it's connected to his father. And I think that it's a good look for Hook. I think it's good for the belt. It's good for him. It's good for Taz. It's good for Starks, because Starks has done all he can do with that belt. It's a belt that doesn't mean anything. So Starks can go on now to be TNT champion, which, you know, he should have a good run with that TNT title. Or the All-Atlantic Championship, but I feel like the TNT is more established, and so I would be looking to use Starks in that kind of picture. So it's good for Starks, he can move on to something else. It's good for Hook, because he's young, he's still learning, he's still developing, and now he's got a belt. So, you know, he's got something on his shoulder. It's good for his dad, as we said, because it means the belt's going to stick around. I mean, Ricky Starks could have been the last person to have had it. He could have said, I don't want this anymore, chucked it away. Or I've outgrown the belt and chucked it away, and, you know, that might have been the end of the belt, but the belt's going to live on with Hook. It's Taz's son. I'm sure is absolutely beaming with pride, so he's going to be loving all of that. And yeah, you know, as I said, it's a win-win-win-win-win. So I think it's good. I'm in no rush with Hook. I think when you've got something that's working and someone that's cool, the urge is to get them to major titles as quickly as possible, because that's what the fans want. They want to see the cool guys get in as quickly to the belts. But the money, right, the business is built on trying to delay that and make it as slow as possible, really, because that's what viewers are tuning in for. You know, viewers are going to tune in hoping that the week they watch is going to see their favourites taking major steps forward. We've all got our favourites. We all want our favourites to be the champions. And so, like, you tune in hoping that they're going to win their matches, progress up the ladder, get to, like, you know, opportunities, get to titles. Like, really, that's the business. Like, that's what you watch. So in regards to Hook, he's young, he's learning, he's not had, like, lengthy matches. His matches tend to be quite short. You see a lot of repetition in his moveset. His moveset it's not bad moveset by any means. Like, he can do a fair few things, but I think it would be unfair, like, to drop him in the deep end. Like, he ain't going doing half an hour against Bryan Danielson. He could eventually, but I hope that behind the scenes he is grafting. I mean, I hope Danielson has got him, actually. I hope Danielson's got him, because one thing I love about Hook is he really lays stuff in. He really does throw stuff around, and he's got to be a bit careful to not injure people. But because Thunder Rosa does the same, and we're starting to, you know, hear, like, I think, didn't Jamie Hayter's nose get broken at Battle of the Belts? And, you know, there's been accusations of sandbagging to Thunder Rosa and whatever. Like, she's always been quite stiff, quite snug, but I love her for it. I mean, I think that's brilliant. When I watch a contest, I want to see that kind of hard-hitting style, that strong style. I want to see Thunder Rosa laying it in. I want to see Gunther laying it in. You know, I can't stand those matches where, you know, they just kind of flick out at each other when they're doing a chop. Or, you know, they'll do a strike and it's just like a mile short. Like, or even if it does connect, it's so soft that it just looks awful. It just looks awful. There's some some really bad performers in modern wrestling that are very guilty of those kinds of things. But Hook is not one. Hook's strikes are great. I think his moveset is fairly varied. It's fairly good. It's a bit repetitive. And his matches tend to be on the shorter side. It's not a criticism. It's not a criticism. It's just where he is. And he's got a little bit further to go. So, yeah, I'm on board, man. I really like him. I maybe don't need him doing the Danhausen relationship and stuff like that. But I suppose it's showing a different kind of side of his personality, if you will. But, yeah, he's someone that I like. He's someone I got my eye on. I think it's unfair. Moxley is called an interim champ when he's defended the championship more than CM Punk and Jericho put together, says Jilly. Roman said, do you think Eric Rowan could return tonight as he's been teasing a return on his socials? No, to be honest. I think whenever a wrestler is teasing things on social media, very rarely does it actually result in that thing happening. A lot of wrestlers tend to use social media as a way of generating buzz. And sometimes it's really easy, if you've got a big show that's coming up, if you just put something out a little bit cryptic, people will bite on that. I mean, they'll just bite and you will be the talk of the town. Now, I don't know what's in it for him. Obviously, it generates a bit of buzz around him. I don't know if he's got any shows coming up that, people might now be aware of that they weren't aware of before. Because obviously, as soon as that happens, people start looking into, well, where's he booked? Is he going to be free for such and such? And, that then might, make people aware that he's out there. But no, very rarely when they tease on social media, does it actually result in something. I mean, I'm not going to say it can't or it won't. He absolutely could, but am I expecting it? No. I will give you that answer pretty much, I reckon 99% of the time, if something is teased on social media. If someone puts something on social media that teases that they are going to be at the show later that day, if you ask me, 99% of the time I will tell you that says they won't be there. It's just, you see it quite a bit. What is your view of Danielson in Blackpool Combat Club? Cornette and Lass seem to think the group is terrible. I agree with Cornette a lot. I do think heel Bryan Danielson is great, but at the same time, I don't think that Blackpool Combat Club is bad. So I would prefer Danielson on his own. I would prefer it. I think Blackpool Combat Club is fine. I don't think it's reaching the heights that I wanted it to reach, but part of that problem is that Danielson was out injured. Moxley has now got an interim title, which was not a plan, clearly. The plan was CM Punk to be champion, but CM Punk got injured, and so they ended up going with Moxley. So Moxley's focus isn't Blackpool Combat Club right now. His focus is defending a championship, like tonight. Tonight, he's not doing Blackpool Combat Club. He's defending his championship against Jericho. So for me, I think that Blackpool Combat Club feels dead in the water right now because the focus can't be on it because of either injury or title defense and things along those lines. If you look at Blackpool Combat Club as well, you've got Claudio, who's now like Ring of Honor, defending a Ring of Honor championship. You've got Moxley, who's doing the interim AEW title. You've got Danielson, that's just come back from injury. I actually don't know what Wheeler Yuta is up to at the moment, but the point remains, we're not seeing them as a faction. When do you see all of them in the ring at the same time? When do you, with Undisputed Era, you used to get it every week. Like the Undisputed Era would come out together, they'd be in a row, and they would, do their promos all in the ring at the same time. This Blackpool Combat Club just feels so disjointed. It doesn't feel like it's united. It doesn't feel like a group. It just feels like there's an appreciation between the wrestlers, and so they've decided to call themselves Blackpool Combat Club. And so they'll go about their own careers, but they, kind of all fall under this umbrella, and that's about it. So it's very hard to get excited about a faction that doesn't really act like a faction. So for me, Danielson is just bobbing around, dead in the water really at the moment. Unless this faction's going to be more unified, I would abandon it. I think unless, and they could get back together. I mean, I don't expect Moxley to be champion once Punk comes back. I think they'll go back to Punk. So, that sorts that. I don't know about Ring of Honor title on Claudio. That he might drop it, I really don't know. I mean, I don't mind people having belts as long as they're still all together and they're not just completely off doing their own things. So yeah, for me, it feels a little bit dead in the water. As a faction, I don't mind it. I actually think it's an interesting idea, having William Regal overseeing this group of wrestlers that, for different reasons, appreciate him. They, respect him. They all want to work together. I really like that. I mean, I've got nothing against the faction being led by William Regal. Who would? The name as well, I think, sounds pretty cool. Blackpool Combat Club. The wrestlers that are in it, I think, are pretty cool. So put me down for that as well. So yeah, there's a lot about it that I do like, and I am on board with it. I'm not hating it, but it's clearly not going the way that it was envisaged, and it's not going a way that's really driving Impact. So I would want to see, I would want to see them either put some changes in place or, I don't know, walk away from the thing. I can see them coming back together and, doing it, though. I can see it being something that they unite behind again, but we might just have to wait a little while. I also feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like they've struggled a little bit at times against, like, the Jericho Appreciation Society. Because they lost, didn't they, in that kind of arena match where they were fighting all around the arena. I believe they were victorious at Blood and Guts, but wasn't like Eddie Kingston involved in the finish? I feel like Eddie Kingston and Claudio were both involved, but Kingston's not really a member of Blackpool Combat Club, so I don't know. That one kind of felt like it was a win for him, but Eddie Kingston's kind of taking a degree of the shine on that. For me, like, where are the big notable Blackpool Combat Club victories? Where are the big wins that they've got? You can point to Blood and Guts, but I will fire back by saying Eddie Kingston was involved in the finish. He was on the roof with Claudio, and they were both going for the submission. And I think Claudio gets the win, but Kingston, as I said, is very involved in that finish, and he is not a member. And I think wasn't Santana and Ortiz involved in that match as well? So I don't even know, really how many members of Blackpool Combat Club were involved in Blood and Guts, because obviously there was no Danielson. So look, where are the big Blackpool Combat Club victories with them as a united force? So I don't know. It just feels a little bit off to me. But some of that is circumstance, as I said. Some of it is circumstance. What is the match type for Moxley and Jericho? I think it's just a normal match, isn't it? I'm not aware of it being anything different. As far as I know, it's just a normal match because it is the Lionheart, isn't it? That's what Moxley wanted. He wanted the Lionheart Chris Jericho, but I don't remember him saying in any specific match type. I'll quickly have a look for you. But as I said, as far as I know, I think it's just normal. Doesn't say anything about a weird match type, so I think it's just normal. It just says AEW World Title match, Moxley against Jericho. There is a coffin match on the show tonight. That's going to be Darby Allin taking on Brody King. And we've also got a tornado tag. The TBS title is on the line. FTR return, and Ricky Starks takes on Aaron Solo. Where can I watch Dynamite tonight? Depends where you are, but if you're in America, it's on TBS. If you're in the UK, it'll be on Fight TV. but you do have to subscribe in order to watch it live. It's not something, unfortunately, that you can watch live just on TV in the UK. It is on TV in the UK, but they only show it after the fact. So I think it's on ITV, actually, on like a Friday night or something, a Saturday night. But yeah, you need Fight TV to watch it. Daniel says, on the Rowan news, Fightful just put out a story 2 minutes ago. Eric Redbeard is backstage, but no words if he's on the show. Well, listen, I'm standing firm. If you ask me, if someone teases something, will they be on the show? 99% of the time, I will say no. And I'm saying no on this as well. So if he's backstage, it definitely looks more likely that he could be on the show. But it doesn't change my approach. We've seen loads of teases before. I remember like Becky Lynch taking a picture of the curtains at a Royal Rumble, and that got everyone excited, and she wasn't at the Royal Rumble. And, you know, it's loads of examples. Edward said, how are you feeling today? I'm good. Shout out to you. Jilly said, Brody King has Darby's number. He hasn't beaten him once. Daniel said, the interesting part, Days, the plan seemed to be that Punk will be back to defend his belt at All Out, but with Mox. But with that now not looking likely, who will face Moxley at All Out? Well, I suppose you need a big... Who's got momentum at the moment? Who is it that's making waves? I genuinely don't know. Who? I really don't know. Who would you go with? Could you do... Who would you go with? I mean, you can't go with, like, Wardlow, because he's got a mid-card title, and you don't really want him to be falling short to Moxley. I mean, I feel like Wardlow's a future champion. So, Wardlow is a name that comes to mind because he had great momentum. But it doesn't feel like it's there. To be honest, you've got to pick someone. If I was Tony Khan, I don't know that there's a ready-made person. You could go with someone like Malachi Black, because, you know, that's someone that's credible, that, you know, you could get to a title shot. There's people you can absolutely go with, but I don't think there's anyone that, like, you know, you can drop in there right now. I mean, you could go with Bryan Danielson. What if Danielson's in a number one contenders match and he wins? And all of a sudden then it's Danielson against Moxley? And you've got a story of Blackpool Combat Club trying to, they're respecting each other, but there's also that element of competition, and you could tell some interesting stories there. You could have Miro going after it. As I said, you could have Malachi go after it. I don't think you could do Wardlow, because he's kind of buried away. Hangman is in with the Bucks, isn't he? And I think he's going to be involved in the trios, and Adam Cole as well. My thoughts on that are that with the trios belts, it's going to be Undisputed Elite taking on Hangman and the Young Bucks. So I think they're probably tied up in that. I mean, you could always make a change, swap him out, and put someone else in. But to be honest, that sort of is being built. So I would probably be tempted to leave that. Starks, a bit too soon for Starks. Starks, I mean, he's only had an FTW belt, so I don't know that he could go straight to the top of the card, if you know what I mean. Malachi is one of my favourites, says Aaron. Christian said Penta would be interesting. Yeah, I think, to be honest, I don't know that there's no one that's there that... I mean, you could go Darby. I mean, if Darby wins in the coffin match tonight, you could go Darby and have Darby against Moxley. There's definitely people that you can go with. I'm not saying they haven't got anyone, but I just don't know that there's like a perfect fit, because we have already started the build for certain stories. And I think that, you know, Adam Cole, Hangman, those are kind of tied up. Wardlow, he's tied up. So I think you would pick someone, whoever is probably generating someone that's not in a story yet, that generates the biggest, interest, The person that you've got that gets like the best rated segments, the most views on YouTube, that's not tied into a trios thing or a TNT thing, go with them. I can't give you that name because it could be Malachi, it could be Miro. I can't give you that name, right? But whoever it is that is generating the most views, the best ratings, the most searches, the most YouTube views, that's the person I would go with, whoever that turns out to be. And who knows? It could be Orange Cassidy. It could be Orange Cassidy. As much as everyone hates, well, not everyone, but as much as like a lot of people hate on Orange Cassidy, it could be that he does generate the most views, and he does generate the most searches, and he does generate the most interest. So, you know, maybe Orange Cassidy would be the right way forward for the AEW fan base. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out. It's a good question. Shakeem said, do you guys know about Tony and Rio? Paperwork, he's not full owner of it yet. Oh, Ring of Honor. No. Haven't heard anything that he's not full owner. AEW TV posted on Instagram asking who we want to be Hook's first challenger. Who do you think? Hook's first challenger. It's got to be someone credible, but someone that's relatively low down in the pecking order. I tell you who came to mind. I'm thinking along the lines of, the problem you've got is that some of these probably should be winning. I mean, I was thinking like Anthony Ogogo. I don't know when he's returning, but to be honest, that would be an interesting matchup. But I feel like Anthony Ogogo, former Olympian, former like boxer, might get the better of Hook. I think he's bigger as well, and booking wise, I don't think that's the right way forward. But he is low down because we haven't seen much from him, and to me, he feels credible because of his Olympic background. So, I mean, it'd be a hell of a fight, but I would have to think Ogogo would win that, you know. So maybe that's not the right person. Maybe you could go with, who's his partner? Who else is in that? Is it Komoroto? Haven't seen much of him, but he's been around a little bit. He's someone that Hook could get a victory over. He was in that team, wasn't he? What team was it? They were all together. It was, Komoroto is someone that, I don't know how credible he is, but that is someone that I could see Hook getting a victory over. But that's the kind of level that I'm looking at for Hook at the moment. Names that we've seen, but names that he can get wins over. I did think about Daddy Magic as well, you know. I did think about him. I don't know his name, Matt. And he's in Jericho Appreciation Society. He's a great promo, so the build would be great. The only thing is, would he really care for the FTW title? And also, is it not a bad look if he doesn't win it? So that's what I was thinking about him. But he is someone that I would like to see have a little program with like someone and do a little something, because he did a promo that was so good. It did the rounds on social media. It was so impressive. So he's someone that I could see like that's worth investing in. So I wouldn't mind if they went with him. I wouldn't go with like a Daniel Garcia or a Dante Martin. I feel like they're a little bit too big. Those to me feel like they should be going for the TNT title along with Starks. I would say like Starks, Dante Martin, they all are around the same level. I just forgot the other name. Dante Martin. Who else is there? God, what? I can't remember. I'm trying to pull these names off the top of my head. The Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels. That's a good shout. Go-Go has been on Dark. The guy was with NXT and got fired. The QT stable, that was it. That was it, Jeremy. Shout out to you. The QT stable. So he was in with that, and I know Komoroto is in that, and we don't see much of him. It would give him something to do, and as I said, he is beatable. In my eyes, he's beatable. I'm not aware of him being a problem. You could go with someone like The Blade Or Blade would be quite good. I was thinking the Butcher could be a challenge. Maybe Hook could feud with him and run through both of them. He could go through the Blade, and then when he beats the Blade, the Butcher steps up to him, and then he goes through the Butcher. So you could potentially look at that as well. Just Nick, shout out to you. Do you think Jericho Appreciation Society are being pushed too much in AEW? Hopefully that is fixed and resolved. We did just get some lag there. But actually, I say it's lag. It's not. It's actually not lag. We call it lag, but it's not lag. What actually happens is there's a glitch on this PC. I don't know why it does it. It's super annoying. But just out of nowhere, the screen will just start like going crazy. And it seems to like short circuit or something is very clearly wrong, and I've got to get this PC in for like being fixed. But I have ordered a new PC. I have actually reached deep into my pockets and ordered a new PC. So there is a new PC that is on the way for me, which will completely eliminate that issue. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that new PC to arrive. Because that happens all the time where we're in a flow, we're in a conversation, and then it just totally glitches out. It's really annoying. So either way, we are back. Is it a virus? I don't think it's a virus. I don't think it's a virus because, well, I don't know. I don't know that a virus would do that, to be honest. Well, I need to get it into a PC place. I need to get someone to look at it. But the problem is, if I do that, I don't have anything to stream on. So I could try the laptop, but honestly, the laptop, I don't know if I would trust it in this day and age. I've had it a few years. It might get us through a stream, but I'd be fully prepared for that to have problems. I'd be fully prepared for that to be wobbling and crashing and everything. So that's why I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to get a new PC. So I've got a new PC. So we call it lag because otherwise I'd have to keep explaining all of that. But it's the glitch. It's a problem with the PC. So, but hopefully that should arrive. I think it's Monday. So just got to get through a few more days. Just got to get through this weekend. It doesn't happen all the time. It'll happen like once every couple of days, but it did hit us a couple of times the other day, and I was like, man, I had enough. I just had enough. I was like, right, I don't care what it costs. I'm going to get a new PC. PC over laptop any day, says Burn It Down. The problem is you're going to the PC place. No, I ordered it online. It's coming in the mail. So I ordered it directly from Dell. I mean, I literally searched best like PC that you can get, and the one that came, or the best like desktop you can get, the one that came back is like an Apple thing that's £5,000, and I was like, well, that's not happening. So I went down till it got a little bit nicer budget wise, but I've still got something coming Monday that's more powerful than what we use. So I'm looking forward to it, but I don't smile when I look at my bank account, let's put it that way. I would love to see Miro in the main event, said Roadman Dutch Joe. He's got the skill set and the mentality to be fighting for the AEW title. I think he would just need to get built up a little bit. I think that he would be going in just a little bit cold. We haven't been seeing much of him. Obviously, he's been out for quite a while, and I can't remember him being in a program. So yeah, he definitely could do it. I'm right there with you. But he would just need to be built. But I'd say the same for anyone, to be honest. I think if it's not going to be Punk against Moxley at All Out, then we need to do some work. We're going to need to do some work to build someone up and get them ready. So we'll see. I'm sure Tony has got it under control. I don't know where Tony is going to place Kenny when he returns, because it seems Hangman took his spot with the Bucks. So I'm not sure where he will be used if he returns. Blaze said, I would look at your PC for you, but I'm a bit too far away. I know, dude, yeah. It's so annoying. So annoying. I really don't know anything about PCs at all. Do you know what I mean? When I got this one, and I haven't had this one long, I put extra RAM in it, and that had me like a nervous wreck. I was like, for days, reading and watching videos about how you install extra RAM. And, like, is there anything I could do that could break the computer and all of this kind of stuff? And I've made sure that I got the right ones. I watched loads of videos. I installed... It's nothing to put RAM in. I mean, the slots are just there. You literally just put them in. But, like, that's the level of my knowledge of PCs. So, it needs to be looked at. My audio wouldn't help you, says Aaron. No. Asim said, did you see Mickie James has teased that she's going to retire, stating, I think I'm done, I've got nothing more? Well, if she does, I don't know if it is time for her to retire or not. That's up for her to decide. But if she does, she certainly leaves with, a great career behind her. So no shame if she does. I mean, honestly, what is there for her to do? I don't know. I feel like you can always continue. There's always things to do. But she pretty much has been there, in it, done it, got the t-shirt. Edward said, I appreciate the support you gave me. I don't know what for. You're welcome. Brenton said, MJF, Samoa Joe, these would be good names for the AEW title picture. Sammy Guevara. Sammy would be all right. I'm not aware of him being involved in anything, so you could certainly move with Sammy. And Sammy's just had that wedding, so he is been in the spotlight a lot. Is he off on his honeymoon and all that stuff? I mean, I've got to think he's going to be at All Out. So, Sammy's a good shout. I like Sammy. Ibushi has said rather cryptically that he wants to wrestle in AEW at least once. Heather, hope you're well. Is there no repair person you can get to look at the PC? I mean, there might be someone that you can call, but to be honest, I feel like, I could be wrong, but the fact that it's been doing it a little while, the fact that it just, seems to freak out, I don't know how quick of a fix it is. I feel like I need to take it somewhere. They need to do work on it, and then I collect it. It can 100% be repaired. My biggest problem is, what do I stream on whilst that's happening? What do I use? I do have a laptop, which I think certainly I have streamed on before. We used to stream on it quite a bit, actually. In 2022, I would not be surprised if that crashed quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the settings, I'm guessing, would have to be lowered, and we wouldn't be able to do some of the nice things that we can do. All that kind of stuff, but we might be able to get through on it. But to be honest, I just thought, do you know what? Just buy a laptop, a desktop that's got a bit more power, I can just use that, install everything on that. I can then get the other one repaired, and then I've always got a backup. So once the other one's repaired, I've always got a backup. If this issue ever happens again, I'll just immediately switch to the PC we're using now that will have been repaired, and then the other one can go and get fixed. So this feels like a much better way forward for us, so we should really be eliminating this problem. I would say long-term, but obviously desktops aren't really long-term, are they? You tend to have them for a few years, and then, you start to develop problems. So, I don't know. I'm excited for this new one coming. Let's just put it that way. On Raw, Ciampa used Johnny's submission, and Corey said, do it yourself during the match. Is Hook believable as a threat besides his hair game being on point? I think he is against a certain level. I think that he is still seen as a bit of a moody teenager. That's kind of how I see him, but he's a moody teenager that's definitely got skills. He lays it in, and his judo throws are fantastic. Really impressive. His suplexes are really good as well. Just as I said, his intensity looks great. The problem is, he still feels to me like he's young. It still feels like he's not quite grown into his body yet. He's still got more growing to go, and I think once he's actually fully grown man, I think he will be a great professional wrestler. But this is what I'm saying. We don't need to go too quick with him, because for me, he's still learning. He's still growing, and I think that he has got a bright future. So, yeah, I really don't mind him. I really don't mind Hook, but I think just got to be careful as to who you're putting him in there with, which is why I was saying Anthony Ogogo might not be the right call. Because I think Ogogo has got great potential. He's older, obviously, and we really do need to get going with him. We need to get Ogogo with Anthony Ogogo, so he needs to get some wins, some momentum. But I know that he's been out injured for a while. So, can we do a poll on who people think the surprise will be tonight? Yeah. Let's try and get this up to a few more votes, though. Then we'll end this one and do that one. Do I sing happy birthday to Nolene? No, you don't know the words, bud. William said, who do you think could beat Punk clean for the title? No one. I think the person that should get the title off him is probably MJF, and he shouldn't be doing it clean. So I don't think anyone should be beating him clean. Bush's tweet translated into him saying that you will see him in AEW. He wants to go to AEW, and Hangman was an opponent he wanted to face when asked by a fan minutes later after the AEW statement. AJH said, who do you think will be the next big signing for AEW? Well, they could go and get Bray, potentially. They could go and get Johnny Gargano, potentially. I think it's going to be very interesting because I think WWE have seemingly finished with all of their releases. So I don't know that we're going to be seeing any more releases from WWE. Who is going to be upset with Triple H and Triple H's booking? That, who's going to be someone that's going to want out? If they're not going to be cutting people, and if they are going to cut people, I think there'll be people quite low down in the food chain. I think there'll be, those kind of NXT stars that never quite cut it. And maybe there could be someone in amongst that, but I think if there's anyone that's got good talent, they'll look to keep them. I think the ones that they'll get rid of are the ones that just really were not getting it. So I'd have to think it'd be someone from NXT 2.0, but I don't think that's honestly, I don't think there's any big names there. I can't see him cutting anyone like Carmelo Hayes or Bron Breakker. So, I don't know who's struggling in NXT 2.0. Sorry, she seems to be struggling a little bit. But, someone from NXT 2.0. Main roster-wise, I really don't know. I'd have to think it'd be someone that really just was unhappy with Triple H's way of doing things. And I think it's going to be a while until that happens. So I think you've got to look at people that are already on the market. I think this is going to be a really hard time for Tony because I think the momentum that WWE has got is meaning that there's a lot of people that had given up on them that are giving them a second chance now, that are watching the show. And I think universally, people seem to be really enjoying what Triple H and WWE are doing at the moment. So, I mean, of course, you don't have to just choose one over the other. You can watch both. So you could also make the argument that any increase in interest for WWE is a good thing because people will come and watch WWE and then find out about AEW and then potentially watch AEW as well. So you could absolutely make that argument, but I think, look, if you're Tony Khan, you want to be competing against a product that people view as stale rather than a product that people are now reinvigorated by. So, that's why I'm saying it's going to be harder. And also, the talent are going to be reinvigorated. So this talent that was unhappy and seemingly maybe on the verge of leaving might not be looking to leave, like Sasha. I mean, at one point, Tony might have fancied his chances of getting her. All of a sudden now, big rumours that she's going back to WWE, so... OG NXT was a lot of fun. Do you see Moxley returning in the near future since Triple H is head of creative? No. I don't see him going back. The main reason being that I don't think WWE at the moment, unless it changes TV 14, I don't think they're interested in doing the type of matches Moxley wants to do. Moxley likes to do those kind of hardcore matches, doesn't he? He likes to do those kind of more extreme matches with barbed wire and all of that kind of stuff. And I just don't think WWE are going to look to do those kinds of things. Obviously, if they move to TV 14, then there could be scope to do them. And maybe then Moxley might be interested, as long as Triple H wants to do those things. But at the moment, then they're still sports entertainment. They're not interested in doing like those hardcore barbed wire kind of deathmatch things, exploding barbed wire things, and all of the kind of, matches that Moxley seems to enjoy having. So I think he enjoys being Jon Moxley. I don't think he enjoyed being Dean Ambrose as much. So I don't think Moxley wants to go back unless WWE start giving him the opportunity to have the matches he wants to have, and there's no guarantee of that. So I think the chances of him going back increased once Vince retired, but I'm still leaning towards no. What should AEW do with tag belts? FTR is the obvious answer, but it doesn't make sense for them to beat another babyface team. Tag belts are getting into Jurassic Express territory of irrelevance. Well, to be honest, I'd put them on FTR and just not really worry about it. I think you put it on like the best team, I'd just have FTR carry them for a long time. I think for me, FTR are the best team they've got. They're the team I enjoy watching the most. They're the team that internet wrestling fans seem to feel a connection with the most. People love the Bucks, but I think FTR are the team. So I would put the belts on them. I would have them feud with, you got plenty of people that you can go up against, and you can always do face versus face. For me, face versus face is not a big problem. Heel versus heel is. Heel versus heel. If the heels are doing their job right, they should be hated. Like, Baron Corbin and The Miz are two examples of two guys that are good heels, because you don't tend to get that excited about watching Baron Corbin and The Miz. The reason is that their movesets are a little more limited. They purposely slow the pace down. So, the babyface has a wider, more exciting moveset. They quicken the pace of the match. They want to excite the fans. And the heel does the exact opposite. The heel should be more limited with their moveset, so they're not as flashy. Because if you're doing flashy moves as a heel, then you're taking some of the shine away from the babyface. So you shouldn't really be as flashy. And you shouldn't want to work at such a fast pace. Like, you should be looking to slow the pace down. Because, again, it's the face, when they're making their comeback, that can quicken the pace up and get the crowd on their side and get excited. So, for me, if you're doing heel versus heel, that really should be two guys that are quite, with a limited moveset, both slowing the pace down against each other. I don't know. I mean, in this modern age, it's not always the way that it plays out. But that's always kind of the way that I've seen the heel and face dynamic. So, yeah, heel versus heel is where I would struggle. But face versus face, I don't have an issue with that. It's just you have to have a slightly different dynamic. You have to do a little bit of different storytelling. But I can cope with face versus face a lot better. So, yeah, for me, it's not a problem. Put it on FTR. They're the best team right now. And just keep it on them. If Montez went heel, he wouldn't be able to bring the smoke then, says Knight Rider. With the hype, I hope AEW gives us a good Dynamite tonight, says Christian. Corbin needs to be the lone wolf again, says Cliff. Did you see that Raw's ratings did 1.9, obviously down from 2.2? If they managed to keep the eyes, is that still considered a success, considering it was 1.5, 1.6? If they can keep it at 1.9, then that is going to be seen as a success, yes. Obviously, the concern's going to be that number's going to continue to drop as people get used to. See, I think Triple H has got a real big problem. I think Triple H's problem is that one of the biggest things you could do is have Vince retire. That's one of the biggest things you could do. Having Vince retire sends a message out to anyone that's ever watched WWE that's really the biggest thing that could have happened has happened. And the intrigue is then, what happens now? That's the intrigue. And the intrigue is what spiked it to 2.2. So, the intrigue got it to 2.2. People got the answer. It's whatever, some people liked it, some people didn't. Natural. It drops to 1.9. The concern is then, as we start to see more of Triple H's vision, does it drop further and just go back to where it was? Or does he convince a few more people to stick around and it, stays at that kind of 1.9 level? I would say that would have to be seen as a success. The only thing that I would say, though, is that I don't think there's anything bigger you could do. I mean, bringing The Rock back for a run would also see a spike in the ratings and it would settle back down again. But, Vince retiring is right up there. It really is right up there. I would struggle to think of anything that's on that same level. So, I don't know. It's good that it's gone up, but it's still we're still only talking a few 100,000 for one of the biggest things that you can do, and it's dropped. So, I don't know. I really don't know. I think it has to be seen as a success because it's, not where it was. It's above where it was, but it's not that long ago. We were consistently above 2 million anyway. And now Vince retires and we go above it for 1 week and then it drops down to 1.9. So, I don't know. I think it just shows where wrestling is in 2022, It's telling that we're watching AEW and talking about WWE. Kind of, but to be honest, I would say that we've spoken more about AEW during this preview hour than we ever have. We normally spend the hour talking about WWE more so. But we've done a lot of stuff, obviously, on all the changes. There's no picture coming at the moment. It says no signal from the venue. So, don't know what's happening. I don't know if you guys have got it, but Fight doesn't at the moment. Has anyone got a signal? No, I don't have one either at the moment. No picture, just so you know. Let me show you. I'll show you, and then as soon as I show you, it'll start. There we go. No signal from venue. That's what I've got. Someone needs to send that to Tony Khan. Lol. AEW have lost their signal. Well, listen. Tony said there was a surprise tonight. Here's your surprise. The show is cancelled. Coffin matches starting. Burn It Down said it started. TBS is working. TBS is working. Fight's not working. I'll refresh it. I'll refresh it and see if that's working. Must just be Fight. I've got it on TBS. Oh my god! Guys, I'm being cheated, robbed, denied. This is a scam. What is happening? People chanting for NXT. Scam. Go to watch wrestling. People chanting for refund. Is this what happens when you pay for things? The Spanish version is working. So apparently, if you want to go to the Spanish version, you can watch it there. NXT sucks. Nice one, Fight. People saying the Spanish version is working. I don't even have access to the Spanish version. Where the hell do you find the Spanish version? Let me see if I could go to another alternative. If anyone's watching, I do pay for this thing. No. You get about 1 million flipping ads, don't you? Yeah, that sucks. I mean, that's nearly 5 minutes. Oh my god. No word of a lie. Look at this. I just went to watch wrestling. They're showing the fight feed. That sucks. So not only can I not watch it on Fight, but if you go to watch wrestling, they show you the feed from Fight that's not working. Oh my god. I'm in some kind of horrible parallel universe. Let me try a different one. Let's try live. Too. It's still not working? That sucks. That really sucks. That sucks. All of this sucks. Oh, I can't believe how I'm being treated. Here we go. Oh, this is live too. Better work. R.I.P. All Elite Wrestling. Yep. Oh, I can't believe it. 5 minutes and they're still not live. I mean, who do they think they are? Me. 5 minutes late. Classic days. Even this live 2 one's not working. What the flip? You're watching a video in daily motion. Thank you. Just please show me. I'm watching it right now. I am pleased for you. If you are watching the show, I am pleased for you. I can't flip and get to it any which way. I've tried 3 watch wrestling links. Right, look at this link. That's what I get on that one. A still image. That's what I get on that one. A still image. This is awful. Oh, it's on. It's back. We're up. We're running. Here we go. Right, we are underway with Darby Allin and Brody King. Well, I'll tell you, I've learnt a lesson tonight. Watch wrestling sucks. Is that blood? Is he gushing with blood already? Is Brody King? What's he done? I can't tell if that's face paint or if it's blood. God, look at that girl. There's a girl that just went absolutely flipping mental because he's got a table out. There was a girl in the crowd, she's like, ah! Why did she lose her mind so much? God, she must love it when she goes, like, furniture shopping. If ever she goes furniture shopping and she sees, like, tables, she must be like, ah, my God. Another one, show the woman again! Show the woman again! She lost her wrestling fans and tables? I mean, I must admit, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get that into I don't think I've necessarily... Well, I can't say I've never chanted for tables. Sometimes I've gone with the flow. But I don't know that I've ever seriously felt the urge for a table. I don't know that I've ever seriously watched a match and thought, like, this needs a table. And then started a table chant. That's alien to me. We're getting another one now. That woman's fainted. By now, that woman has legit passed out. She's just absolutely out on the floor. So there's a table in the ring. There's 2 tables on the outside. The table leg buckled. Oh my God, the table leg's completely broke. Oh my God. Oh my God, the table's broke. He's broke the table already. He didn't do anything. The fans are booing the table. The table just turned heel. Darby is lying on a table as Brody King is going up top. That must be blood, you know. That must be blood. He splashes Darby, but Darby moves. Is The Miz going to AEW? I don't think so. Tables in 99 with Dudleys is the only excuse. Yeah. I mean, that was their thing, wasn't it? When they were like, Devon, get the tables. You pop then. I've never chanted for tables. But yeah, I completely agree. Dudleys, Devon, get the table. I can get that. But just genuinely in like matches. Someone brings a table out, like, I've never had that reaction. Like, it really felt that her reaction was real. It really felt like she was like, ah! It just spoke to her core. Lights are out. Lights are out, guys. Oh my god. I hope the lights are out. I hope Fight TV hasn't gone again. This has got House of Black written all over it. Lights are out. Still out. Back on. Buddy Matthews is that Buddy Matthews, is it? He looks huge. Julia tries to grab the leg. Kicks. God, he looks big. He looks bigger. Buddy Matthews' arms look massive. I think he's been doing a lot of working out with Rhea Ripley. Okay, so Malachi is in the ring with Buddy Matthews. They've planted Darby Allin. Julia Hart's on the outside. She just got enough of his legs to trip him. Original Buddy Murphy, baby. Lights out fight is not. Buddy is jacked. He looks great, doesn't he? He looks great. I was looking at him going, is that Buddy Matthews? He looks huge. Cannonball as Brody King cannonballs into Darby Allin. Darby Allin goes through the table. There's a sign in the crowd that says, thank you, Papa Khan. Buddy Matthews grabs Darby. So we've got Brody King down after that cannonball. Julia Hart on the outside. Malachi. I think he's telling Buddy Matthews, keep an eye out. Is he saying keep an eye out? Oh, I thought he was saying keep an eye out for Sting. Sting in the coffin. It's Sting! Mitchell, hope you're well, buds. I never needed you at all. I never needed you at all. Watch me shine now. Watch me shine now. Mitchell, hope you're well, dudes. It's Sting! I gotta say, this is maybe a hot take, but I've really started to sour on Darby. If you've seen one of his matches, then you've seen them all. I mean, I like Darby. I can understand why you would feel that way. I like him. I think I'm still on board with him, but I think out of, like, you know, Britt Baker, Sammy, MJF, he definitely feels like the one that's, I don't know, got the least momentum. He's meant to be a pillar. And, yeah, I agree. I feel like we are just spinning our wheels with him. I don't feel like we ever really move forward with Darby Allin. I mean, we could. I'm sure we could. Sting deals with Buddy Matthews. And Malachi decides to walk away. So, Sting mugging off the House of Black. Yeah, Buddy Matthews is still down, and Malachi's just walking off. Sting's going after him, though. Brody King gets knocked. Buddy Matthews is down. Brody King is down. This is not doing anything for the House of Black, is it? This isn't doing anything for them. Straight to the midsection. Into the railings goes Darby. Who will be the surprise? I think it's going to be either Punk or... I think it'll be Punk or Omega. Okay. Look at the blood. A proper crimson mask. Blood all over his face. Brody King is absolutely gushing blood. Darby has got some chain. Strikes by Darby. His hands wrapped in chain. Now he's looking to choke Brody King. So Darby choking Brody King. Brody goes into the coffin and the lid closes and Darby Allin wins. I'll be Punk doing that same bit he did with Cena with the WWE belt after Cena wins the new one, says List of Jericho. How do you watch AEW if you're in the UK? Fight TV. If you go to Fight TV, then you do need to subscribe to their AEW pack or whatever it's called. But that gives you all the Dynamites live. And to my knowledge, other than like watch wrestling, it's the only legal way to watch it live. Just Nick said, did you answer my question about Jericho Appreciation Society? I think I started to. I can't remember if I did because we got hit with the lag, didn't we? Apologies for that. Jericho Appreciation, are they getting pushed too much? So my thought on that is that I think that you need to push them because anything involving Jericho is going to be near the top of the card. I mean, Jericho's always going to be involved in those stadium stampedes, blood and guts matches. So you're going to need to like push them. I think that the problem you've got is that the talent that's surrounding him is maybe not very well established. The 2.0 team and Garcia, just not quite as the same level as what we saw with Inner Circle. So you're kind of having to do quite a bit of work. So, I don't know. I think what they've done with it is all right. It's not as great as Inner Circle, but it's different to Inner Circle. But I understand why they're pushing them. You've kind of got to. As I said, anything involving Jericho has kind of always got to be in and around that main event scene. Whether he's got the belt or not got the belt. So, I don't mind it. I just think they're not as great a group as Inner Circle. We're just hearing from Moxley. If your fighting spirit doesn't break, your body will. If your fighting spirit doesn't break, your body will. So there we go. We've one match down. Brody King, Darby Allin. Darby Allin getting the win. What we can do is we can put that in the scroll at the bottom of the screen. I'll set that up. So, Moxley, that obviously our main event tonight. Allin beats King. If Tegan returns at Clash at the Castle, how do you think it will happen? It's hard to say without knowing the card, because my first thought would be that she'd be involved in something with Shotzi, because they were a tag team together. But she was also in a feud with Dakota Kai. They were, they had probably her most famous feud was with Dakota. So I'm wondering if maybe she could get involved in that match and she could help the faces. She could help Bianca and she could help Asuka and Alexa. Tegan could come down and, interfere and, help even up the score somehow. I don't know, maybe the heels are doing heel things and Tegan comes down, helps the face team, and as a result, the face team end up getting the victory over Bayley, Asuka, and Alexa. So I think that would make sense. If Shotzi is involved, I think then you could definitely look at Tegan getting involved there. But right now, I'd say probably lean into her history with Dakota Kai. Nothing is better than Inner Circle. That was the best thing ever, says Unbroken. Since they bled in the first match, it's going to take away from the bleeding in the main event, says Wrestling News. Do you want to see Scarlett as a manager or a wrestler? I will see her as both. I think she needs to be a manager of Carrion. I think that he, with an attractive woman by his side that's kind of doing a bit of talking for him backstage in particular. He can promo. She doesn't need to do all the talking for him, but she can do. But backstage, I can see Scarlett having backstage moments with Adam Pearce, doing the talking for Carrion in those types of situations. We don't need Carrion constantly talking for himself. I just think that having her by his side definitely is a great package. I think they look fantastic together. I like that. But to be honest, I think that she will find herself getting into trouble naturally because of him. As he is feuding. For example, if he feuds with The Miz, Maurice is going to be around. And if Maurice is going to be around, you're going to need Scarlett to, get her hands dirty. So I think there's lots of stuff. There's lots of situations where she could find herself kind of having to go up against superstars and have matches, be it singles matches or mixed tag matches. So I would do both, is the answer. We're just hearing from Jericho. I'm going to beat you, Moxley. You wanted to face Lionheart? Be careful what you wish for. Stu Hart was vicious. He was violent. He was a sadist. You can fix a tooth. You can heal a cut. What I'll do to you isn't so easy to fix. I like it. I was the first AEW World Champ. They love that line, last survivor of Stu Hart's dungeon, don't they? He's used it about 3 times in this promo. Good promo, that. I really like it. It's just him talking to the camera. It's very old school. Very old school. Normally now you've got an announcer that's backstage, your Sarah Schreiber types. But I really like that. That was really good. Oh, we've got the Trios tournament bracket Death Triangle against Will Ospreay and Ozzy Oh, my God. Rubbish. How are you meant to look at that bracket and, get excited about the teams? Gone. I'll have to have a look online. It does my head in, that does. Just slow down. Slow down. Let's see if we can find it. Right, here comes La Faction. I don't know that it's been... I don't know that it's up yet. They'll put it up eventually. But I don't think it's gone onto Twitter yet, that bracket. But it was really exciting because I just saw Will Ospreay's involved. Will Ospreay and Aussie Open are going to be in the trios thing. I have no idea what else is in there. I don't know because I saw that and I was like, oh my god, Will Ospreay, and then boom, gone. Right, we've got next match, La Faction Ingobernable taking on the Lucha Bros. Ingobernable. Boom. Makes me wonder who from AEW might be in House of Dragons. AEW moves so fast you just can't catch everything. I have no idea what they said after. I had no idea what they said. I was still trying to figure out the bracket. Right, here are the Lucha Bros. I sent you a bracket, thank you. Let's have a look. Yeah, a few people have, thank you. Here we go. It is Death Triangle taking on Will Ospreay and the Aussie Open. It's Andrade El Idolo, Dragon Lee, and Roosh taking on the Young Bucks and question mark, which I've got to think is going to turn out to be Hangman Page. So that's interesting. Will Death Triangle get past Ospreay and Aussie Open? I've got to think. Or will they have Will Ospreay and the Aussie Open at All Out? Oh, that's interesting, that is. Got to think Young Bucks are getting through anyway, so I'm going to say Ospreay and Aussie Open won't be at All Out. I could see it being Young Bucks and Hangman against Will Ospreay and Aussie Open, though. I could see maybe they got Will Ospreay for one match, but hopefully they can do a couple. But either way, on the left-hand side, I can see it being the Young Bucks that go through. So, Death Triangle taking on Will Ospreay and Aussie Open. Andrade, El Idolo, Dragon Lee, and Roosh taking on the Young Bucks and question mark. On the right-hand side, we've got House of Black taking on... Who are they taking on? Dark Order. Couldn't read that. House of Black against Dark Order. And then we've got Trust Busters taking on Best Friends. Trust Busters against Best Friends. So, who's in Trust Busters? I don't know if I know that. I've seen the name, but I can't recall who's in Trust Busters. Trust Busters. Trust Busters. Right, we've got Trust Busters. That's the Parker Bordeaux group. That's why I know it. 'Cause there's been a bit of talk about him coming in. So, that was Haaland in NXT. So, it's Daivari, going by the name now of Ari, former Ring of Honor wrestler Slim J, and Parker Bordeaux. So, Parker, Ari, and Slim J are Trustbusters. I don't know that they are going to progress very far because they're not very well known. I suppose this could be a way of, introducing them, though. I suppose it's a way of introducing them. I wonder if we'll get Trustbusters going to face House of Black. Do you know, this is not the final I was expecting. Where is the Undisputed Elite? Why is Adam Cole and O'Reilly and Fish not in this thing? I really expected Young Bucks to be taking them on in the final. Does that mean that Adam Cole is now free to go up against Moxley at All Out? Maybe that's the match. The reason I ruled it out is because I felt pretty good we were going to get Undisputed Elite, or whatever they're calling themselves now, taking on Young Bucks and Hangman. So, this is why I wanted to look at the bracket, because there's some really interesting conversations to be had. Really interesting conversations. I'm thinking House of Black against Young Bucks and Hangman final. That's my guess. House of Black against Young Bucks and Hangman final. Who wins? I will say Young Bucks. I think they'll go Young Bucks. And then I think they can start do the feud with Adam Cole and Fish and O'Reilly. Fate Ross Fate said, Trustbusters are my first 3 wives. Let's go, Will. Fate Ross Fate, shout out to you, buds. Yeah, thank you to everyone that sent those through. Appreciate it. It's good to break that down. Will Ospreay in the final. Oh, that would mean that the Bucks don't make it. That would mean the Bucks, because he's on the same side as the Bucks. I've got to think the Bucks are going to... I don't think they're going to put the first AEW Trios champions as being people from New Japan. I've got to think the Bucks are going to make the final. If they're in it, I've got to think they go into the end. Triple H reportedly wants to scrap the 24/7 title. Goods. We're on the outside. Luchasaurus is going to be in action tonight. So we're going to be seeing Luchasaurus. Thoughts on Kevin Dunn staying with WWE? I read an article where the horrible camera cuts weren't his idea, and him leaving won't solve that problem. I don't hate him staying. I think that you can still get plenty of change and still have an enjoyable show. It's actually quite rare that anyone mentions the camera cuts as being an issue. I thought it was really noticeable during the brawl with the women on Raw. I mean, no word of a lie. I even was calling them out. It was like camera cut, camera cut, camera cut, camera cut, camera cut, camera cut. I know that sounds quite intense and sounds like I'm making it up. I swear I'm not. I was sat there going camera cut, camera cut, camera cut. Like they were, I think they were trying to make it seem exciting. What's happening here? What's happening here? What's happening here? What's happening here? But I can totally understand why people lose their rag over it. It's too much. But I mean, look, whether that's him or not him, it's not an issue that I hear people mentioning on a consistent basis, or really that much at all. I think it's something that is... I think if you notice it, it becomes an irritant. But I think general public, casuals, don't really notice it that much, or haven't noticed it yet. Or it's not an issue for them as much. So, if he stays, he stays. I mean, to be honest, what bugs me more is that he has a say in the show. So not only does he produce it, but apparently he was the reason Billie Kay left. He just didn't see it in her, and Vince listened. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like if he's doing the directing and, like, telling the cameramen what to film and getting them in position and doing the directing and the live editing and getting all the feed out, like, I'm sure, like, yeah, it's all well and good in having an opinion, but I don't know. I think he's got quite a bit. He's on the board as well, isn't he? So that's the side of it I'm not the biggest fan of. Is like he had a lot of influence. I've got to think under Triple H and Steph that influence has reduced. So I don't mind. I know people see him as a Vince guy, but I mean, you just got to remember he's been producing the show since Raw began. So every great moment in history has been produced by Kevin Dunn. Same with SmackDown, so I'm alright with it. He's not let's put it this way, he's not public enemy number 1 to me. But if he was to go, I'd be alright with it as well. Right, Penta going for a pin, but instead decides against it. He went for a 1 count, and then they've decided to go for this finishing move. Penta, 1, 2, shoulder up by Andrade. In comes Roosh. Super kick, Roosh goes down. So Roosh goes down, Phoenix goes over to the corner. Phoenix runs at Penta. He splashes off the shoulders of Penta to an Andrade. Makes the save. Days, no one can see the rules in the arena on Discord. You've got to give people access to it. Okay. It should be Punk, higher chance than Omega. It honestly gives me a headache, says Doppelganger. I tried watching Raw a few weeks ago. I couldn't get to the end of the show because of camera cuts. Ledge Killer says, hello. Zoomstation said, Dunn has been there a long time. Brenton said, Young Bucks against Trustbusters, final question mark. Parker was viewed by Heyman as another Brock. Then Vince turned him into Haaland. This could be Trustbusters' introduction. It could be. The reason he was released was apparently he wasn't taking his training that serious. I think if he was and he was taking things on board, then I don't know that he would have been released. Absolutely, he could have turned his attitude around, and maybe he's doing great in AEW, and they feel that they can protect him being in a group, and this could be the introduction. You're absolutely right. I have to think House of Black stands a great chance though. That's a big faction. I think my if I was a betting man, I would go Young Bucks and whoever against House of Black. But I think Trustbusters get through their first round. Andrade has got Phoenix. Kick to the back of the head there by Penta. Roosh with a drop kick. Penta goes back to the corner. So Phoenix is down. Andrade back up to his feet. Backs over to the corner. Runs over in the corner. Collides into Penta. Double knees. Kick there by Phoenix. Phoenix gets pushed back in the corner. Kicks to Roosh on the ropes. Powerbomb. He goes down. Rolling cutter by Penta. Crowd are into this. Some of them on their feet. Everyone is down at the moment. Larry said you should rename the 24/7 belt back to the hardcore and make it a little bit more hardcore. So Phoenix is down. Penta goes to the outside with Andrade. Top rope Enziguri. He grabs Andrade. Edge of the ring, but Andrade, into a destroyer on the edge of the ring. So Andrade is down and out. Phoenix pushes Roosh to the edge of the ring, and I think Penta's going to go for another one. What's he going for here? It looks like a package pile driver, actually. No joy. He's clubbing Roosh from the back. He's telling Phoenix to go up top. Phoenix is climbing up, walking on the ropes. Andrade knocks him off the ropes. Knee strike by Roosh. Andrade getting into the ring with Roosh. Penta is down. Headbutt there by Roosh. What the hell is Phoenix doing? Phoenix is like stumbling back, but 2 count. Why is Penta's just sitting there, and Roosh is like tying his mask to the ropes. Why is Penta not fighting this? Why is he not fighting it? Why is Penta's just like, as they're tying his mask to the ropes? Now they've done it, now he realizes. Kick by Phoenix. Missile drop kick by Roosh. Roosh with a pile driver. 1, 2. Penta jumps in the ring and he takes his own mask off. So you can actually see his... You can see his hair. Penta's got hair. Breaking news. Andrade. I don't understand why he's wearing face paint. Why is he covering his face? Gets thrown on the outside to... I hate the mask taking off thing. Tony addressed rumours of some talent being frustrated on Busted Open. His response was, I understand, but it's hard when you only have 3 hours. Dustin tweeted, if you're unhappy, just go. We got Roosh in the corner. Roosh charging over. Drop kick to Phoenix. So Penta is down on the outside. Phoenix in the middle of the ring. Hammerlock. Spikes. Plants him. Roosh poses. 1, 2, 3. Penta first AEW unmasking, says Kyantai Pepper. Jaden said, what do you think is next for PAC's All-Atlantic Championship belt, and what's AEW pay-per-view and why? I don't know what they're doing with it. I mean, we don't... I really don't know what we're doing with it. He's been out, like, defending it in other promotions, hasn't he? I don't know what the purpose of that title is. Is it, like, meant to be defended all around the Atlantic? Like, you go to Rev Pro, and is that, like, the point of that belt? I really don't know. I don't know what they're doing with it. I can't say that it's going to be on a pay-per-view because I don't know if that's the purpose of the belt. The belt could be that it goes around to England, Canada, Mexico, and it gets defended in, like, these different places. And if that's the case, then maybe we only see it fleetingly on, like... Or maybe we don't see it on AEW pay-per-views. Young Bucks are backstage. They've gone into the Dark Order locker room. We want the world to see this. Young Bucks thanking Adam for saving them last week. You didn't have to do that. I'm getting sick and tired of them unmasking Penta. Why do they keep doing it? It's about 7 times they keep unmasking him like that, says Malik. Larry said, this is just tremendous disrespect to an entire culture, or is that just me? What, the unmasking thing? We've seen it happen. It's happened with Ray, and it happens. He tried to, like, cover his face. I mean, he was wearing face paint. I don't know, really, that he needed to. If he wasn't wearing face paint, I would understand it. But the mask doesn't really cover, like... It's not a mask that, like, completely covers his face, but... I don't know. It wasn't anything that bothered me. Young Bucks saying to Hangman, this is where you won the world title, in this building. You became a superstar in this building. I wish I would have enjoyed the journey more than the destination. Maybe we are bad people. When we're around you, you bring out the good in us. Will you be our trio's partner? Hangman says he can't. So Hangman says, when I won the world title, you didn't congratulate me. These guys did. This is their chance. This is the Dark Order's chance. I won't be in the Trios tournament, but I will be in their corner, says Hangman. If you guys are going to have a partner, it should be someone that never turned their back on you anyway. It's interesting. Does that mean it is going to be Kenny then? Does that mean it's Kenny? Right, Jungle Boy. Oh, is it Jungle Boy? It's Luchasaurus, isn't it? It is Jungle Boy. Hangman is over like Kona Crush in 93, says Cliff. Thoughts on Roosh? I don't understand the gimmick. Is he any good? I don't. To be honest, I've never watched loads of him because he's done a lot of stuff in like Ring of Honor and everything. So he's all right. He's all right. I don't. That whole last match did nothing for me. That's just not my kind of thing. But he's all right. He's good at it. Right, Jungle Boy has gone on to commentary. So Luchasaurus in action. Luchasaurus. Oh, that's not how you spell it. Luchasaurus. Oh my god. Perhaps it's because my keyboard's a bit far away. Luchasaurus. Do I need to update the results? I do, don't I? So it was a win for Le Faction beats Lucha Bros. Is he taking on a jobber? Who's he taking on? Who? Anthony Henry. Anthony Henry. Dream match. Luchasaurus against the Jobber. The dinosaur needs to be pushed to the moon. This dude is big and good to stay in the mid-card. He needs to be a heel and he needs to be a monster, said Master Chief. Days, I've got to imagine with Triple H in charge, obviously great news for unhappy talent in AEW, is the wrestling on the YouTube shows and most weeks going to be enough to satisfy talent? Well, I mean, look, I can't criticize Tony for that because WWE for the longest time had people just sitting in catering, and ask T-Bar if he's loving being in WWE right now, you know? So they're doing a much better job of using the talent, but there is still talent that's not being used in WWE. Tony's responsibility, I'm sorry to say, is to put on the best product possible. That means bringing in the best names, using them on the shows and giving them the spotlight. If he doesn't feel that some of the people he's got are that level, and so he uses them elsewhere, I ain't gonna. Business is business. I'm not gonna criticize him for it. And if they end up going, they end up going. It sucks, but that is business. I mean, you can work with them and try and get more out of them, and maybe he's trying to do that with some of them on Dark, via Evolution or Evolution or whatever it's called. Elevation. I don't even know what it's called. I mean, I hope he's doing that. I hope he's saying to them, like, either you're on the back burner till this time and that's when I'm going to look to use you, or I need you to give me more in your promos. Can you go to Dark and really work on your promos? Or, you know, hopefully he's either giving them direction or letting them know when he's going to use them. Luchasaurus with a very, very quick victory. We had Christian appear, and they both run backstage and tried to get to him. Now we're hearing from Miro. Is that Miro? Who's this dude? Why is she touching his face? Yeah, break her arm. I don't even understand all of this. I don't understand what happened. Miro was backstage. Julia Hart arrived. She said something very scripted. And he responded with... I don't even know what that was. That felt like something from a flipping music video. Julia trying to touch Miro. Is it? Are we heralding the arrival of Lana? Is that what we're doing? Luchasaurus beats Jobber. Julia Hart touches Miro. I'm going to include that down at the bottom. It feels significant. She touched his face. Miro denying House of Black and finally showing his eye is not messed up. Daniel said, Fightful said the plan was for Kenny and the Bucks to team up at All Out, which would be the finals. We could get Ospreay Omega as they're on the same side of the bracket. Well, it depends when that would be. They're on the same side, so that would be a semi-final. Yes, we could. You are right, but that wouldn't be at All Out, would it? Miro turned down the Pagans. Gotta love it. The Redeemer, says Heather. James said, he said there's only one woman that touches the Redeemer, and you're not her. He was talking about Tony Khan. Shots fired! Shots fired! It all depends if Triple H brings Lana back. She's in the middle of a pickle. I don't think Triple H is bringing Lana back. It certainly seems like it was teased like Lana might just be coming to AEW. That'll be good for Miro. That'll be great for Miro. That will be great. We want Lana, says Blaze Radio. That's definitely happening. Lana is coming. She won't use that name, though, will she? She'll be, what's her name? CJ Perry. Miro went full Conan on Julia. He didn't even seem surprised she was there. She just arrived and touched his face and he just responded. I mean, like, if I was, like, doing a promo and someone arrived, wouldn't you, like, be startled by them or, like, I don't know, react to them in some way? Like, she walked in and grabbed his face and he was just like, don't touch my face. You're not the person that can touch my face. It felt very cold. Here we are, back to the show anyway. The factory are here. Is that Kamaroto now? Is that what he's doing now? Powerhouse Hobbs. Walking away. Mark Henry said that he can't wrestle because he's got, like, nerve damage and everything. And apparently he did something not long ago and it resulted in him needing a flipping wheelchair. So, here's Jay Lethal making his way out. Satnam Singh as well. I don't like Jay Lethal's music. This might be music he's always had, but I just don't like it. It's like a metal theme for Jay Lethal. God, I hate this theme. I've never heard it. This is awful. When I think of Jay Lethal, I think of, you know, machismo and his relationship with Ric Flair, and there's nothing about him that makes me think that music. Okay, so they're talking about what they've done to Wardlow. People take the mick out of Tony for hugging wrestlers the way he does, but let's be honest, don't we all want someone to hug us like that? Absolutely. Just once. I mean, that could be something if you go to, like, the AEW fan convention. They could have a little booth where you can pay to get hugged by Tony Khan, just so you can experience it. That would be really good. Here comes Wardlow. Wardlow making his way down. Wardlow world sign. He looks great in a suit. Tonight I'm going to whoop all three of your asses. Wardlow making his way down. All these... Oh, FTR! The living legends! Huge reaction. Look at all the belts. They've got 3 belts. Ring of Honor, AAA. I mean, they are the current IWGP. So, yeah, we've got FTR coming down there with... that's a hell of a team, innit? Look at that team. Look at that team. Wardlow with FTR. That's a great team. It wouldn't be all out, but the Bucks have their first match in trios next week, and it's not with Hangman. So if it's not Hangman and Kenny, who's the partner next week? I'm thinking Kenny. I mean, Tony said, do not miss this show. They've just tried to get Hangman, and he's turned them down. If their first match is next week, I'm feeling pretty good about Kenny. This got interesting, yeah. Yeah, it's always goes up a gear when FTR come out. FTR are in the ring with Wardlow. Cornette and Lass called Omega returning from a mile away. They said trio belts are away for the Bucks to duck. FTR and Omega is returning before Punk to get some of that attention. Thoughts? I think, no disrespect to Cornette and Lass, I think it's obvious that he's going to not come back and start doing singles matches because he's been out for so long that he's not going to come back and just start doing singles matches. So I think him being in tag matches or trios matches, now they've got these belts, does make sense. I mean, he's got to be protected. But I didn't know if he would be a part of this tournament or if they would just use him kind of on the outside for now. But I could definitely... I mean, I think whether he's in with the Bucks or Hangman and the Bucks are the trios champs and then Omega comes back and kind of joins them, I wasn't expecting him to come back and just start having singles matches, hit the ground running. I think he's been away far too long. Far too long. So, I don't know. I don't know that it's all about, like, stealing spotlights or anything like that. Anna Jay just attacks someone backstage. Right, who's coming out now? Oh, it's Solo. This is why I didn't know him. So, Solo against Starks coming up next. Solo against Starks. MJF knows and wants to be in WWE because it would make him an actual entity. the lady was popping out. Well, let's just put it this way. I got my subscription money's worth in that last segment. Thank you, AEW. Do you think Moxley is the AEW GOAT? If not, then who? Jericho. I'll go Jericho. He was their first champion. He was in the inner circle. He's constantly been, rightfully or wrongfully involved in a lot of the major kind of stories, stadium stampedes and things along those lines, blood and guts. And as I said, he was their first champ. And I think that he was huge for... I know Moxley was in, I think, was it the first show he makes his arrival? So, I mean, he's in from pretty much the start. But just before AEW even gets going, I think having Omega was the one name people were waiting to get announced. And that was massive. People knew about Cody. They knew about the Bucks. And you were just waiting for Kenny to get announced as being a part of this thing. So him being announced was massive. But Jericho was a big surprise at those press conferences before AEW got going. And that was huge. I mean, that really legitimized this thing. Because Jericho was now a part. I don't know. I always thought Jericho would end up going back to WWE. And I think he still may, but at some point. But, yeah, I mean, him being a part of this, I never expected that. He always said he would never work for another North American wrestling company because he never wanted to go up against Vince. He never wanted to compete against Vince. So as soon as he did that, that was shocking. And as I said, a big, big statement that this company needed to be taken seriously. So I would go with Jericho. The new Rock, Ricky Starks, said Zoom Station. Starks over by the ropes. What they're doing with Starks is great at the moment. I love it. Brendan said, FTR and Wardlow, we've seen it before. Just missing MJF and Spears. No complaining. Hell of a team. They're great. I love them together. I was thinking trios. Straight to the midsection by Solo. And again, big chop coming in. AEW and its rotation of 10 wrestlers, 7 men and 3 women, says D. Carey. Jericho will go back. His ego wants that Hall of Fame induction. Now, in all fairness, he deserves it. I think that, take away what he's done with AEW if you're not a fan of that. Just what he did in WWE alone deserves going in the Hall of Fame. So I absolutely would not begrudge him going in. I don't think he goes in while still being with AEW, but equally I would have said there's no way he goes on Broken Skull sessions whilst he's in AEW, and he did, which was a massive shock to me. That is one thing I definitely never predicted or saw them doing. Spear by Starks. 1, 2, 3, and he gets it. Starks wins. Wow, that didn't take long. I mean, in all fairness, I'm quite pleased it didn't take long. It didn't need to take long. Starks, Spears, Solo. Is that Kamaroto? Is that? Spinebuster. Solo with a double axe handle. Kamaroto looks so different now with this new look that he's got. Kamaroto with a chair. I mean, he's made to look like a flipping idiot in this segment, but he looks cool. Anthony Ogogo's coming down. QT trying to go after Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks runs into the crowds. Powerhouse Hobbs is so incensed backstage. He's ripped a TV off the display and smashed it on the ground. Days, isn't Broken Skull still owned 100% by Stone Cold? Yeah, but he needs permission. I mean, he can do his podcast, but the ones that go on the network, he's obviously got to get clearance as to what guests go on there. Because that's still their network. So, Broken Skull, the podcast, he can do what he wants, but the ones that go on to WWE obviously need clearance. Do you think AEW is too formulaic? It's like wrestling, backstage segment, wrestling, video package, wrestling, interview, wrestling, show ends. I don't mind that, to be honest. I don't mind that because I don't mind them doing match, then we go backstage for an interview, do a match. Like, that's not a problem to me. The problem to me is that the show... the pacing of the show can be a bit too quick sometimes. Certainly where, like, you know, you're trying to see those what's coming up soon. And they're doing a preview for Rampage, preview for next week's Dynamite. Here's the trios bracket. Even promos, you know, something will happen and it's like, as soon as it's done, boom, we're off. I've seen some incredible vignettes that just need that moment to breathe once they're finished. So it's like, you know, the vignette will play out. It's all quite dark, mysterious. The person will look at the camera. They'll say something like, I'm coming for you. Something along those lines. And it just needs that moment where, like, there's just... It's like Tony can't have a moment of silence. He just can't allow things to breathe. And, like, it just needs that moment where someone's looking at the camera and they just pause and they just wait on it. But it's not, as soon as they say their line, I'll see you soon, whatever it might be, boom, gone. AEW Dynamite, boom, we're back to the arena. It's like, it's all so flipping quick. And it doesn't allow you to, like, really take things in. It's just this. It's just scattergun. Look at this. Look at that. Have you seen this? Forget that now. Look at this. So yeah, the formula of the show, the formatting of it, the way that it's laid out, I can't say that bugs me. I just wish they would let things breathe a little bit more. And I really do not need brawls all the flipping time. Those would be a couple of real quick fixes. Let's not have brawls. Like, a lot of matches ends with other people coming down and getting involved. Like, get rid of that. Stop doing that. Do it once in a blue moon. And slow the pace of it down a bit. But would those changes result in better ratings? Probably not. Probably not. It will make the show a bit more enjoyable for me, but would that result in, like, you know, another few 100,000 people watching? No. Charlotte is going to be on the next Broken Skull, says James. I did see that. Yeah, that'll be good, that will. That'll be good. You could ask some really interesting questions, like, how does it feel being so, like, you know, close to breaking Rick's record? Is that something she thinks about? And then asking her about, like, how she's perceived by the fans. Does she worry about, like, how the fans view her? What's some matches that she still wants to have? I'd be interested in those kind of questions. I think she's a good guest. Joel said almost every match gets a run in. I hate it. Yeah, it is true. It is almost every match. Let's just say FTR retire within the next few years. Do you think they win the AEW tag and the trios with, say, a Punk or a Wardlow? Who would be a good third member if those two aren't available? Danielson would be awesome. Danielson would be fantastic. I think they will win both of those before they retire, yeah. Here's Parker. So we've got Trustbusters face-to-face with best friends. Ari saying you need to lose these two morons. Parker's towering over Orange Cassidy. He had a nickname which was really cool. I don't know if they'll use it, but I think his nickname was like the Destroyer of Gods, which I just always thought was a great nickname. Parker Bordeaux, the Destroyer of Gods. Right, here's Madison Rayne. 5-time Women's World Champion and 3-time Women's World Tag Team Champion, making her AEW Dynamite debut. So, Cargill against Madison Rayne. They're going to lose at least one of them soon. Madison Rayne, a TNA legend, said Moldy. The coach, Madison Rayne, said Zoom Station. Here comes Jade Cargill. I don't know what Cargill's up to now. Kira Hogan and Stokely Hathaway with Cargill. 35-0. 35-0. Has surpassed 500 days as the TBS champion. Jade equals money. There's a sign in the crowd that says 36-0. Big sign. Madison should have brought her tag team partner, Tennille Dashwood, with her. Madison is married to Josh Matthews from WWE. Billy Gunn forgot about Road Dogg, said DDFF. Is she showing the ones she is training how it's done? I'm guessing she is here for that. She doesn't mean anything. I never watched TNA, never watched Impact. Don't know anything about her. Someone made a reference that she looks like a beautiful person, so I'm guessing she was in the Beautiful People, which is a faction I've heard of. She's getting in the face of Jade. Jade pushes her down. Madison right back up, getting in the face. Jade Cargill gives her a kiss on the head, throws in a few forearm strikes, tries to get Jade Cargill against the ropes, knee to the midsection by Cargill, strike to the back. Madison over in the corner, big boot. Madison goes down to one knee, selling. Jumps up as Jade Cargill runs into the middle turnbuckle. Missile dropkick. Jade Cargill goes down. Rolls out the ring. Madison in control then in the early stages of this one as Cargill is on the outside. Madison steps out. Goes for a kick, misses. Cargill gets Madison on her shoulders. Madison throwing in a few strikes. Head scissor takedown. Madison runs over, pushes Jade into the railing. Madison interacting with the fans. Jade Cargill rolls back into the ring. Kira Hogan looked like she was about to get involved. Referee notices, so she doesn't. In comes Madison. Spear by Jade Cargill. Kip up by Jade. It's a nice spear. I don't know what just came out. Something just came out. Okay. I'm glad professional wrestling is making jobbers great again. WWE and AEW both had jobbers this week. What do you think of a signature win for Jade looks like? With Sasha probably going to WWE, who is there for Jade to beat? No disrespect to Madison, but this ain't it. A statement win for Jade. I mean, she needs to be beating people like Ruby Soho, Toni Storm. Those are the kind of names. The kind of names that... This is a mid-card belt. So if you're not involved in the main title picture... you should be involved in this one. So, if she was able to take on and beat Britt Baker, I mean, I feel like that's one of the biggest that you could get. That's obviously going to be hard because they're both heels, and so until someone turns face, you're not going to do that. But somewhere down the road, you could end up getting that. Thunder Rosa, when Thunder's title run finishes and she's out of that main title picture, you could do Thunder Rosa and Jade. I feel like they might have faced already. I don't think they have. I can't remember Thunder losing to Jade. I think Ruby did in the tournament to crown this champion. But I think where we are with her now is different than where we were. I think she has had this title for a while. You could definitely build up, Toni Storm, a Ruby Soho, and make a feud out of it rather than just, in the tournament type thing. But I don't know. I mean, there's not many big names, is there? I mean, it really feels like Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa. I mean, that sort of feels like your only big names that you've got. Toni Storm, obviously, is a decent name. Ruby Soho is a decent name, but I don't know. Is that a signature win for Jade Cargill? It's the best I can give you because it's the best they've got. In the corner goes Madison. Ruby is stuck on Dark and Elevation at the moment, says James. I hope Madison wins, but I know that Jade will win, said Mr. Channel. Madison in the corner. Cargill charges over, throws in a big elbow. Madison down to the ground. Cargill comes over. She grabs Madison. Strikes to the midsection. Again, a few more strikes coming in. Madison goes over to the turnbuckle. Madison down to one knee. Crowd are really quiet. Really quiet. She's got Madison up in the air. There we go. She does a delayed stand-in vertical suplex. 1, 2. Shoulder up. Bit of Daft Punk. Mitchell, shout out to you, dude. I don't know what it is, but the TBS, TNT titles don't feel like proper mid-card championships. The champions don't feel in danger, especially Jade. They just don't build them up. I mean, where's the build for this? It goes back to my point of everything being too fast, too quick. Like, we're always moving on to the next thing. We're never, letting things breathe. You could have built this up over weeks and weeks. Like, there could be a good story to this. This could be a big match. It's not. It's not. It doesn't feel like a big match, and the crowd are reacting like the kind of match it is. They're just sat there in silence because it's cold. It doesn't mean anything. But Jade constantly gets these kind of title defenses, just randomly taking on someone, defending a title. She needs to be in an engaging feud, and it needs to feel big, and she needs to be put in a bit of peril, and someone needs to be getting the better of her and all this kind of stuff, instead of just these one-off matches that are kind of announced the week of the show, or you'll do a promo the one week and then the match is the week after. So for me, that's the big problem with TBS, is it's just sort of playing out in the background. There's not a big spotlight on it. I feel like the TNT has got a bigger spotlight on it. I feel like that one has definitely had much more feuds involved and all of that. So that one's better. And Wardlow's got that belt at the moment, hasn't he? So I think the future's all right with the TNT one, but I don't know. Maybe you could make an argument that the All Atlantic Championships around, does that take a little bit away from it? You see, the problem is that AEW Dynamite is really the one show they've got. They've got Rampage, but it doesn't feel like it. I don't know. It feels a bit like a step down. The ratings kind of show that it's not viewed as a second show. It's more of a, I suppose in a way, it's a third hour of Dynamite. Maybe you could look at it that way. With WWE, they've got Raw, and they've got SmackDown. So they've got like two very distinct brands, two different rosters. So you can get away with having like an Intercontinental on one and a United States on the other. With this, everything's kind of happening on the one brand. So, I don't know, with Hook going around with an FTW belt, with an All-Atlantic Championship, with, you know, occasional other belts coming in, be it like, I mean, Claudio's going around with a Ring of Honor belt, and it means that the spotlight is not on the TNT title as much. Athena jumps into the ring. Might be about to get a feud here. Here's Athena jumping in, and she throws in some strikes to Jade. See, this would be a good feud for them to play out. So, Athena... I actually think Athena winning that belt would be a good call, actually. I don't think you need, like, to constantly have Jade winning and winning and winning. I think if Jade was to actually come up against someone that did get the better of her, then Jade would obviously have to go away and try and figure out where she lost. And, you know, she could come back and win it back off Athena, and that could be interesting. Good. I ain't no criticism there. That's exactly the kind of thing I want to see them doing. Rather than just week after week after week, let's actually do something like that. I would even be tempted to put that belt on Athena. Good. Tony Storm. Vape Ross Vape says Sasha will beat the streak. Mark it down. What, Jade's streak? Tony Storm in action next week. Tony Storm said, my main goal is to one day be the AEW Women's Champion. Rampage. Bryan Danielson is going to be on Rampage. Bryan Danielson returns and speaks live. We also hear from FTW champion Hook. Hook is going to say a few words. And the Gun Club against Beardhausen. So no Eric Redbeard on the show tonight. Instead, he's going to be on Rampage. He's going to be with Danhausen. Beardhausen. Parker Bordeaux taking on Sonny Kiss. And we've got Swerve in at Glory on Rampage as well. AEW World. Forgot they were the AEW World Tag Team Champions. We've also got Orange Cassidy taking on Ari Daivari. We're back. Yeah, that was, again, not lag. It was that goddamn thing. It's definitely worse. Definitely worse. So, I don't know, man. I don't even know if I'm going to make it through to flipping Monday. I mean, that's twice on this one stream. So, that situation, whatever it is bad. That is a bad situation. I've got a bad situation here. So, I don't know. I mean, what streams do I need to get through? I need to get through UFC, and I need to get through SmackDown. So, I've got, 2 streams. I might have to get through a Raw, but hopefully if it comes on Monday, I might be able to set it up before Raw. So, I might have 2 streams that I've got to get through. 2 streams that I need to survive. So, yeah, it's a known problem. I've got a whole new PC coming. And it will be a problem that goes away next week. Did you see they announced for Dynamite, Danielson Garcia 2 out of 3 falls? I didn't. I did take a footage, actually, so that you can see what I see. I mean, it's really not that exciting. But that's what it looks like. Can you see it just like proper freaking out? The sound you could hear was coming from AEW on my laptop. But yeah, just like this blur of colour. What's wrong? Is lag bad? It's the PC. It's not lag. We always say it's lag because it's just easier to say that. But it's very rarely is it actually lag. Quite more often than not, it's this glitch thing. Yeah. Jilly said you'll make it through. I know. You still have it after the new PC? No, the new PC's coming on Monday, I think. I don't know why. I was really hoping it was going to be like next day delivery, but it's not. They said the 15th to the 18th. If it's the 18th, if I've got to wait a week, I'll be pulling my hair out because it is definitely getting worse. Definitely getting worse. But listen, we're doing everything we can, and I don't think it'll hit again now. We've had it twice. So I don't think it'll hit in this final half an hour. So we should be able to enjoy this main event without worrying about being cut off. What I do want to do, though, is when the new PC arrives, I'm thinking of doing a new Sunday show where you guys can call in. We've got a Discord, which... we've used it once and it worked really well. So let's not get crazy about that yet. That's just something I'm thinking about. But a Sunday show, maybe for an hour, not anything too long. Sunday, yeah, we're gonna chill out. But maybe an hour, just like an hour show, and we'll just get a load of people call in. I mean, you know what it's like. We say an hour and then it goes longer. But yeah, I'm really thinking of doing that. It will not be this Sunday. There's no point doing it with the flipping PC in its current form. So, bit of Daft Punk. Jericho versus Moxley. Delwyn, shout out to you, buds. Let's see what Delwyn's got to say. I've literally got no... I've had one... I've got no YouTube open. Since it glitched, it cut me off. John Moxley making his way. Annoying. Very annoying. Not him. The glitch. Right, let's see what Darwin's got to say. I'm going to end this poll as well. Days, I've had one very good source message me an hour ago. There's big WWE news coming tomorrow. I won't say good night. Okay, that's interesting. Big news coming tomorrow on a Thursday. Okay. Delwyn, where did you get that from, though? Who's your source? Is it reliable? Or is it, like, just someone on Twitter that's randomly putting something? There's this... is it Xerian News or something? I keep getting tagged in them. I don't know why. People seem... I don't know. I've never heard of them. And it just seems to be some dude running his own personal account. And I saw him getting into an argument with Sean Ross Sapp as to who broke a story first. But this Xerian News just doesn't seem to be breaking anything. Just seems to be reporting stuff from like Dave or, I don't know, predicting things. It's really weird. Some of the stuff that goes on Twitter and Instagram's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild. I reckon unless it's coming for like Sean Ross Sapp, WrestleVotes, or Dave Meltzer... don't know. Sean Ross Sapp tweeted a little bit ago, he's got a Bray and Wyatt and WWE story tomorrow. Oh. Well, it can't be anything too urgent, otherwise surely he would drop it now. Do you know what I mean? That seems to me like... I mean, look, if it was If it was something massive, he'd drop it now. If it was like Bray's coming back, it would be out there now. So I've got to think it's probably information about how Triple H views him. I mean, I'm sure it's still going to be interesting. I'm not saying it's not going to be interesting. It'll still be interesting. But I wouldn't get like, don't go to bed thinking, oh my God, he's on the verge of coming back. Because if that was the story, it would be out now. Is the poll referring to a surprise tonight? It was, yeah. I mean, Tony has heavily teased, like, don't miss tonight's show. So it feels like there's going to be something. I mean, we've already seen the Young Bucks trying to get Hangman. He turned them down. I don't know. I don't know how this show ends. We've got plenty of time. We're underway with Jericho against Moxley. Lionheart Jericho. Smile on his face. Lion on his boots. Locks up. Nice takedown. Arm drag by Jericho. Speaking of Britt, do you find her and Jamie boring? I think Britt face turn is overdue since she got more experience and turned into a great heel since the Y2J Cruise debacle. I don't find her and Jamie boring. I actually think Jamie has got real potential. I would like them to invest more in Jamie. I feel like Jamie needs some killer entrance gear. I feel like Jamie, like in like an Asuka robe, maybe even a mask as well. I feel like, yeah, definitely. I think a killer mask or some sort of entrance attire that she can then like remove as she gets into the ring. She feels quite a special talent. She's very good in ring. So I can't say that I find them boring because I look at Jamie as someone that's got real potential. You see a lot of like people that have got potential, but I can see hers. There's a lot of people that you go, oh, they could get somewhere, but they've got to do this or do that or whatever. I mean, you look at Anthony Ogogo. He's got potential. He's a former Olympian, but I don't know that he's really shown anything in the ring yet. As an example. But Jamie Hayter, I've definitely seen some stuff out of her that I've really enjoyed. So I can't say that I find them boring. I think that they could definitely do some tag matches or something. Or they could like use Jamie a little bit more. I don't think the booking has been that strong with Jamie. I don't think it's been terrible, but she's definitely just felt like a lackey. She's just sort of felt like a bit of an afterthought, but when she has been called upon, she's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed watching her, so I like Jamie. You could turn Britt face, but I think she's a great heel. She's a great heel, and the stuff she does with Tony as well, that's pretty fun. And having like Reba on the outside and everything. I think, do you know what? If you look at the women's division, I think we can all agree one of the problems is not Britt Baker. Britt Baker is one of the only over females they've got. I feel like what we need is other people that are on Britt Baker's level. Building up people and getting them to Britt Baker's level is a big flipping problem. In desperate need of getting women to that level. I think Jamie lays it in the most out of anyone in the women's division, even more than Thunder, and she thrives off facing people that lay it in. Jamie is great. I think that's why I like her, to be honest. I've said before, that's my style. That's my style. I'm not ashamed in admitting it. I think the Young Bucks style is not my style. The Penta stuff, the Lucha stuff. I've got an appreciation for Lucha, but I don't know. The more I watch it in like AEW, the more I see like Phoenix and Penta. It just doesn't do it for me. There's a real lack of selling in that kind of stuff. Like, they do these massive moves, these big, like, you know, reverse Ranas and head scissor takeovers, hurricanranas, and they're just constantly doing all these spots, and nothing seems to hurt. There's no degree of selling. I love the hard hitting style where they're, like, you know, working on a body part, and, you know, they're selling it and they're chopping them down, and it feels like a real contest. Gunther, Asuka, Thunder, Jamie Hayter, Serena Deeb. That's my style. That's definitely my style. That's what I enjoy. And you're absolutely right. I think that's why I'm so into her, because she doesn't pull the punches. She lays it in. I'm excited by her. But she hasn't been positioned as a star really in her own right yet. She's kind of still very much under the learning tree of Britt Baker. So she's kind of, you know, in the background, having the odd match, doing the odd tag match, things like that. And that's fine. But I'm just waiting for us to get going with Jamie Hayter. I'm just waiting for us to pull the trigger. And I hope when we do that we, like, really invest in her entrance gear. As I said, give her a mask. Give her something that's, like, you know, really makes her stand out when she makes her way down. I don't think they really do. You know the WWE thing where Bianca comes down, she swings her hair around. And you have, like, you know, Bobby doing his entrance. Brock, when he comes out, throwing his arms down, the pyro going up. I don't know if they really do anything for AEW superstars. She would really benefit from something like that. If Jamie Hayter was to come out and the first thing she did every time is put her hands out, she's got, like, an amazing robe, and she was to, like, present herself maybe to both sides of the audience, and then, like, you know, make her way down or do whatever, like, give her, like, something that is a routine for her on the entrance stage. She makes her way down. Maybe she's got, like, a killer mask or something, or entrance gear, some kind that she takes off, and, you know, like, maybe she puts her arms out and the referee takes it off her, like the entrance robe and everything. And then she's in the corner getting ready to go. Like I can see her really being a big player if they get the presentation right. Because once the bell sounds, she's awesome. As soon as the bell sounds, she can go, man. She can go. So I am excited about her. And you have to think that her being with Britt for so long means that they are building towards a feud. I can see Britt and Jamie in a feud. And that is going to be fire. That'll be good. We got blood in this one then. We were at commercial break, so the pacing of it was slow. But we are back now. We got both guys down in the middle of the ring. This is for the AEW Interim Championship. William Regal on commentary. European Uppercut. Says, when you're losing blood, you're losing your fight, really. It's affecting, like, your oxygen and everything. Against the ropes. Down goes Moxley. Do you think the topic of the title swap could be brought up on Broken Skull with Becky and Charlotte? Yeah. Backstage, row, Charlotte walking out of the building. Yeah, it could get brought up. I think it should be brought up. And I think it's one of the biggest things she was involved in. I think her relationship with Becky is absolutely going to be a topic of conversation. She's touched on it, though. She spoke about it with Ariel Helwani. Not the title swap moment in particular, but her friendship with Becky and how they were really close. They used to travel together, and that relationship's just not as strong as it was. And she hopes that they can get back to where they were. That's what she said to Ariel Helwani. But she acknowledged that it's, you know, it's not where it was. Jericho in control, and he's got a submission hold applied. Legend Killer, shout out to you. Alex said, of course there's blood. Lol. I love Moxley, but it would be nice to get through a match without the fake blood, says Jilly. Kojiko said children are born less frequently on Saturdays. It's interesting. That's good of them to not mess up people's weekends, you know. Nice German suplexes by Jericho. Jericho collides into Moxley and again, and one more for the road. Just constantly throwing in these clubbing blows. Chop coming in there by Jericho. Jericho climbing up. In position. Jericho, arm in the air. Nice, good work by Jericho. Down goes Mox. Mox going over to the ropes. 1, 2. Moxley getting his shoulder up. What happened to Ariel? He has become a chump, says Unbroken. I don't know. I don't mind him. His interviews with the WWE superstars are pretty good. I don't really watch his MMA hour that much, but I've seen like a fair few interviews that he's done. He's a good interviewer. This show makes me think the surprise is going to be Punk, says Brenton. If Omega was to return, he would have done it by now. I can't see the main event going on for long. How are they going to do it though? I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know that it's Omega. That's the way I'm leaning because of what we saw with the Young Bucks earlier. It could be Punk. It could be that someone wins this and then Punk comes back. Down goes Jericho. Crossface by Moxley. So we're 17 minutes from the end. Moxley with a crossface on Jericho. I tweeted you that Sean Ross Sapp tweet. Thank you. So look, what's it saying? Do you want me to run a report tomorrow on why some WWE higher-ups believe they are more likely to regain Bray now than before? Okay. Well, I mean, that's interesting news, isn't it? That alone is interesting news, that higher-ups, so people within WWE think they are more likely now. I mean, I don't think that that is revolutionary news, because I think we can all agree that as soon as Vince left, the chances of Bray going back increased. So, I mean, I've got to think that that's going to be along those lines. I've got to think that's, you know, Vince has gone. Bray had a problem with Vince because of creative. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what Sean Ross Sapp can come up with. If it's... Hopefully it's something more than that, because I think we already know that. But it is still noteworthy that he has spoke to someone and higher-ups believe there's a chance now. Right, we've got the walls. Middle of the ring. So, middle of the ring, and, I mean, it really is right in the middle. JR said it's just a matter of time here for Jon Moxley. Moxley trying to get up. I mean, it's in quite deep as well. It's still being applied here. This move's been on forever. I'm enjoying this match more than I thought. It's just good old-fashioned wrestling, says Minty. Yeah, there's no silliness. Couple of middle fingers being stuck up there by Moxley. William Regal said Moxley won't be giving up. He's trying to turn this over. Regal said, I've felt this move. It's an awful move to be in. Here we go. Strikes coming in by Moxley. Stomped by Jericho. And again. JR said this match might be bowling shoe ugly, but it is damn sure intense. He's managed to put it back on again here. I think Charlotte Becky should reunite. Could the surprise be a 60-minute draw, says Davids. We might have 60 minutes of this Walls of Jericho being applied. He's put it on and Moxley's been in this hold. I tell you what, if I was Jericho, I'd retire the Walls after this. It's been in so long. It's all well and good him not tapping, but he hasn't passed out from the pain either. Regal said, I've never seen anyone stay in this hold for so long. He's still in it. Crowd chanting away. Still got it in. Moxley still trying to get over. Moxley is basically taking a nap. Trying to get over to the ropes. And he gets to the ropes. Moxley gets to the ropes. Jericho puts his arms in the air. He thought that he had got it won, but Moxley got over to the ropes. Kick coming in by Jericho. Stomping away on Moxley. Okay, so Moxley on the outside. We've got 12 minutes left. I mean, we could go into an overrun. Jericho tries a crossbody into Moxley, but Moxley moves out of the way. Picture in picture the whole time. Ariel was mentioned, but have you listened to Joe Rogan's MMA shows? He has MMA-only shows, and they're in between his regular podcast. Joe is incredibly smart. Yeah, well, he's got his jiu-jitsu black belt, isn't he, I believe? I think he's got, he might have a couple of black belts. But, yeah, very knowledgeable on MMA and combat in general. You're more likely to have a weird or scary dream when sleeping on your stomach. Right, Jericho goes back into the ring. Crowd chanting, this is awesome. Jericho in the ring. Moxley going up top. Look at, code breaker. Down goes Moxley. One, two. Moxley kicks out. Earring being ripped out was gruesome. End with Punk, Omega, and MJF coming out. A man can dream, says Blazed. Okay, so Moxley is in the middle of the ring. Strikes coming in by Jericho. Jericho going over to the corner, is taking off the top turnbuckle pads. He's going over to the other side. He's taking off that turnbuckle pads. Aubrey, he's trying to get the turnbuckle pads. What's been thrown in? Sammy threw the baseball bat in the ring. What's Aubrey doing? I don't even know what Aubrey's doing. What's Aubrey doing? 1, 2, shoulder up. I don't know what Aubrey was doing. Jericho took a turnbuckle pad off, left it there. He took the other turnbuckle pad off. He chucked that on the outside. Aubrey went out to get it. Makes sense. The baseball bat's thrown by Sammy, but it actually goes too far and it goes out the ring. By the time Jericho gets the baseball bat, Aubrey is back in with the turnbuckle pad. Doing a classic ref faffing around. Baseball bat was used. Moxley survives. Is on his feet now, Moxley. Moxley goes into that exposed turnbuckle pad. Or exposed turnbuckle. Judas effect connects. No one has ever kicked out of the Judas effect. And Moxley does. Come on, Moxley, says Legend Killer. Has the theme show been watered down? Yes. Yes, I don't know. I still think they stack the cards for the theme shows, so that helps. But I don't know that it has the same impact as it did when you're doing them on such a regular basis. Jericho goes outside the ring. Grabs the belt. Jericho with the belt. Moxley in the corner. Jericho goes into that exposed turnbuckle. Choke applied here by Moxley. Jericho going down to one knee. Bulldog choke applied here by Moxley. Elbows coming into the side of the head. Moxley is down on his back. Elbows coming into the side of the head. Jericho trying to turn Moxley into the walls. That's a much better walls. That's much better. Blood pouring down the face of Jericho. He's got head and arm. Elbows coming in. Right. He's got a choke applied here, Moxley. That is a lot of blood. I don't know if that is coming from a gash. I think it is, you know. I think there's a gash on his forehead. That is a lot of blood. That might need stitches. He's putting a tight squeeze on here, Moxley, and he gets the win. Moxley beats Jericho. Jericho taps. And Moxley retains. It's a bloodbath, says Rivy. So there we go. Moxley gets the victory. And we've got 6 minutes left to go. 6 minutes left to go. Moxley beats Jericho. Who's coming back? I feel like someone's coming back. Punk now, do you think? Here comes Hager. Hager and Sammy go after Moxley. They come running down and they're stomping away. Jericho holds up the championship. Here comes Blackpool Combat Club. Forearm strikes. Okay, we've got a big brawl. I don't think the rest of Jericho Appreciation Society are in there. Oh, here they come. Here they come. So Jericho Appreciation Society making their way down. So we've got Blackpool Combat Club, Jericho Appreciation Society, Eddie Kingston's in there. Hager was horrible. Hager the Horrible was one of my favourite cartoons. Jericho has got the AEW Championship. Matt Menard has got Moxley. And it is Punk. It is Punk. CM Punk. So it was Punk. CM Punk's here. So CM Punk making his way down. Into the ring steps. Hager on the outside. So CM Punk returns. CM Punk was the surprise. Who do you prefer, Moxley or Jericho? If I had to watch a Moxley fight or a Jericho fight, I'd probably watch Jericho. But Jericho has been very guilty of like doing a lot of like goofiness and actually just doesn't look like the Jericho of old, which is very understandable. No shade. Very understandable. But I would probably get more from a Jericho match. So CM Punk's back. He did seem to still have a bit of a limp, though. He did seem to have a bit of a limp. CM Punk chant by the crowd. Joe says, what a good surprise. And Broken said, Punk makes me limp at this point. He has got a limp. So Punk is in there with Moxley. Moxley up on his feet. Moxley getting in the face of CM Punk. It's going to be a big match. Big match. We knew it was coming. This is a money match. Moxley sticks the finger up in the face of CM Punk. So there we go. All Out Punk Moxley winner, undisputed AEW champion. So Punk just put all the weight on his foot to show that his foot's doing all right. But when he came down, he didn't look great. Kid in the crowd excited. That's always good to see. There we go. So, normally when Tony hypes something up, he normally comes through with it. So, I felt pretty good there would be something on this show. Tony, as I said, when he's like, you don't want to miss this tonight, he means it. And CM Punk coming back, I mean, that's obviously going to be really great for AEW. He hasn't been away that long for me. I mean, it's not like he's been away for months and months and months and months and months. So, it's been a little while, in all fairness. House of the Dragon. AEW Dynamite House of the Dragon. Has this got something to do with Game of Thrones or something? I know they're working with some new IP, aren't they? I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently the work they did with Shark Week and everything went down really well. So now they're working with some different IP. Is House of a Dragon a thing? Is that a show? Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. Now I've said it. Now I'm thinking it is a show. Don't know. He looks like he's still hurt. It's a HBO Max new series. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, not my thing. I never watched Game of Thrones. I'm not a hater. It's not my thing. So I never got into that. So I'm guessing it's connected. Okay, what do you score AEW Dynamite? Oh, I'm gonna flipping ruin that, ain't I? Dynamite. There we go. Fans still hungry for Punk? Yes. Hey, look, the crowd. That was a good pop by the crowd. Crowd are into it. CM Punk's big name, big star. So I think the fans are really into it. It was a nice surprise. It was a good moment. It's a good moment. CM Punk coming back. I mean, the only thing I would say is I think we knew Punk Moxley was going to happen. And we knew that CM Punk was coming back. We just didn't know when. Tony saying, don't miss this show, definitely meant that it was either for me, Punk, or Kenny. I think that moment earlier where Hangman turns down the Bucks, I think that's a great moment because that got me thinking it was Kenny. Like, after that moment, I was like, oh, it's Kenny. Because they're going to go to get Kenny and Kenny will come back. And it's not. It turns out to be Punk. So I feel like that moment earlier was a nice swerve. So from a booking point of view, fair play. Fair play. It was a good show, said Master Chief. Just because I don't watch enough wrestling, I'm going to watch NXT now, says Jim. Malik said, it's too soon for Punk to come back. Didn't they say the surgery was going to be a long time? I don't know. I mean, look, it's down to him, isn't it? If he feels all right and he feels he can do it, I mean, he doesn't need to put himself at risk. I think he probably can see the ratings are a bit, like, not flat, but just a bit stagnant. And, I don't know, maybe he's, like, eager to get back or whatever. I'm sure he can see the wrestling world's talking about Triple H, talking about the Vince stuff. The momentum doesn't seem to be with AEW at the moment, but this tonight will help. Will definitely help. CM Punk coming back is good. Good for him. Reports from people at San Diego Comic-Con was that Punk seemed in a lot of pain and was constantly icing his foot when he had the chance. Was it an act? Is he a pro and keeping kayfabe? Don't know. I mean, like, he seemed to have a bit of a hobble. I mean, when he was in the ring and he was putting weight on it, it seemed fine. So, yeah, good question. Is it an act? I really don't know. Rampage has been averaging about 350 to 450. They've not done over 500 since February. Is that why you stopped doing Rampage streams? No. Stopped doing Rampage streams because we do the new post-show reviews. My analytics showed that once SmackDown was done, there was a big decline. And so we started doing Rampage because it's just straight after. So it makes sense to go from SmackDown into Rampage. It never really maintained, like, the viewers of SmackDown don't appear to switch the channel over. I mean, SmackDown goes from like 2 million. 2 million is about what you get. Even at the end of the show, they're around 1.8, 1.9. So for Rampage to only be getting like a quarter of that shows, you know, how big the decline is. So I was aware that there was a limited audience, but that wasn't really the problem. I was quite happy to just keep doing it, but once we started doing the post-show reviews, I had to make a decision of, do I do it straight after SmackDown, or do I watch Rampage first? And to be honest, it just kind of felt like big things happen with SmackDown, and you want to talk about it immediately, and you want to get into it immediately. And actually, a lot of those Rampage streams we were doing, we spend the first 15 minutes of them talking about what's just happened on SmackDown. So it just seemed to make sense to just go straight into it. So that was the reason. In all fairness, if Rampage was around the 900,000 mark, similar to what you got with Dynamite, then maybe I would have been forced into waiting because, you know, the decline wouldn't be as big. But that drop-off has always been there, in all fairness. You know, even if it was 500,000, even that's still a quarter of what SmackDown does at the end of its show. So, yeah, I don't know. Rampage is tricky, isn't it? It's tricky. I mean, I don't think that time slot is working. I really don't know what you could do. Even if you're putting title matches on, we've seen title matches on there, and that just doesn't seem to do it. Don't know. Perhaps it's the fact it's pre-taped. Maybe that's the big problem. If it was live, if there was a way of doing it live, then they might stand a better chance because anything could happen and you might not want to miss it. But the fact it's pre-taped, I think all the results are out there. So you can look at the results and you just don't need to watch it. I broke my ankle. I wasn't normal for a year. I could function after about 2 months, though, says Master Chief. Daniel said, Punk this week, and seemingly looks like Kenny will return with the Bucks next week in the first round. The momentum is picking up for AEW. That's a really good point. It's a really good point. James said, I still watch Rampage and NXT Level Up. Brenton said, thoughts on Cornette saying Mox is the worst wrestler? I think Cornette is reaching with people like Chuck Taylor, Luthas, Pentaco. Yeah, I don't think he's the worst wrestler at all. Maybe the point that he's making is that he is, a garbage wrestler, someone he doesn't appreciate, that is being used in such a big way. So does that make it even worse, the fact that he's being pushed so hard? So he doesn't appreciate him. I don't mind Moxley. I don't mind him. I mean, he's not someone that I'm crazy about. He's certainly not someone that gets me to buy pay-per-views and tune in, but it does that for others. And, I think that's kind of the point that Jim's making. It doesn't have that effect on Jim either. And so for the standard of his wrestling, the match quality that he produces, the enjoyment that Jim gets out of it, compared to how he's booked and how he's constantly being pushed and he's constantly being used, that equates, this is the guy I hate the most, basically. This is the worst wrestler. But if we are just talking about in-ring skills, no. I don't think he's the worst wrestler. But I don't mind like Jim saying that. That's his opinion. And I don't mind him saying that because for him, it could be that if you, as I said, mix in his position on the card, then and you factor it all in, then that's why he could be saying like those things. But no, I agree with you. I think you could list worse. I'm not even that down on him. And I know that might sound like I'm down on him. I'm not. He just doesn't move the dial for me. If he's on the show, fine. If he's not, I'm not bothered. Eric said Thursday night is open for Rampage or any wrestling. Yeah, is that Impact night though? I think, do Impact do Thursdays? I don't know. Might not even be a problem. I don't know, but I actually don't know what night Impact is. I'm guessing Thursdays. Whenever I stream Raw, SmackDown, or AEW, I don't have people telling me about Impact. So I'm guessing it's probably on a Thursday on its own day. It just feels like that time slot just doesn't really work. But I do think the bigger factor is going live. I think if they were to go live, they would definitely get a significant boost in ratings for Rampage. Thunder Rosa is worse, says List of Jericho. Moldy said business is about to pick up. Cole, Bryan, Punk all got injured. MJF away. AEW went into a little slump, but Bryan and Punk are back. MJF and Omega on the way. Things about to pick up. I would give AEW 10 if it could go one Wednesday without bloods. Make it special, not every third match. Mm-hmm. What would you say AEW is missing? I think they just need to slow some things down. I think there's things people are tired of with AEW. So this is going to sound really harsh, but I think they're missing a good booker. I really do. I think Tony Khan has done a good job, considering he's not booked a show before, and it's something he's just taken over. I think you can tell that he's a wrestling fan and that he's got good ideas. But I think that there's things that he does wrong as well. There's too many brawls after matches, and you become very desensitized to them. And the blood thing as well. You get desensitized to it. And, there's been a lot of criticism of him bringing in ex-WWE stars. I don't necessarily see that as a problem, personally. But I think if you are going to bring them in, you could maybe make an argument you need to use them better than they have been used. Has Pac been used to his potential? Has Miro been used to his potential? Has Malachi Black been used to his potential? I would have to say no, personally. Has Ruby Soho been used to her potential? I'd have to say no. I mean, I think we could sit here and go down a long list of people that have been brought in and have not been used to their potential. You have to put that down to the booking. And the repetitive brawls after matches, you have to put that down to the booking. The pacing of the show as well. I mean, that's maybe not the booking, but that is still Tony Khan to me. He has still got his fingerprints all over that. And for me, the pacing of the show is too quick. I understand you want a nice snappy pace and whatever, but there's just... things don't get time to breathe, as I said earlier. And I also think there's a lot of, the Jade Cargill criticism, I think, works for a lot of people. I just don't think that they do a good job of letting feuds breathe as well. I mean, there's a lot of, things that happen and changes that happen, and they happen on Dark or they happen on Elevation, and they might happen on Rampage, and all of a sudden then something gets announced there and you're just meant to know about it. Honestly, I don't know when Madison Rayne got announced as being the opponent for Jade Cargill. I really don't know. That match meant nothing to me. In fact, I don't even think I knew they were fighting before I saw it announced earlier today on Twitter. So someone could say, oh, it was announced last week. Or someone could tell me that it was announced on Rampage. But the fact of the matter is that everything is happening so fast. If it was a backstage segment, there's every chance I didn't even catch what they were doing. Because it's like, boom, you get it, and then, right, we're moving on. And it's like, everything just seems really quick and nothing is allowed to breathe. So, for me, I would love for them to actually build some feuds and really get more out of them. And they do some great stuff, though. I mean, as I said, they don't do tons of rematches. So, credit for that. They don't do tons of rematches. They always try to inject a lot of excitement in the show. But the problem is when you're doing constant excitement, you just get so desensitized to everything. It's a real, do you know what? It's a hard balance in 2022. And I was going to do a video on this. I actually think that Vince was really clever at one thing. Well, he was clever at a lot of things, but there was one thing he was really clever at. And that was giving you the bare minimum to get you to come back. Vince didn't go crazy. It's not like you tuned into Raw and there was surprises teased. It's not like every Raw had to be called Fight on the Moon. Do you know what I mean? Or Raw Fight on the Moon, please tune in. It was just Raw. It was Raw. Tune into Monday Night Raw. I mean, you're lucky if you got matches announced in advance. I mean, you might not have had matches announced in advance. I mean, most of the time you get a couple of matches for a 3-hour show. And then you'd get New Day against Brawling Brutes, and you would get it 15 weeks in a row. We all know the problems, right? And it's hard to sit here and praise some of this stuff. But the point I'm making is that he did the bare minimum. He did just enough to get you to keep tuning back in. And for some of you, you ended up going, right? So you could make the argument that what he did was too little and he should have done more. But the fact of the matter is, even by doing the bare minimum, he was still getting 2 million tuning into SmackDown, 1.8 tuning into Raw, and the TV networks were seemingly happy with that. And he was just getting these big money contracts. Fox wanted SmackDown, and they paid a lot of money. Peacock wanted the network, and they paid a lot of money. USA want Raw, and they wanted a second show when SmackDown went, so they bought NXT. They wanted these under Vince's booking, and he got all of this money for a product which was quite slow and stale, and he gave you the bare minimum. The advantage of that is that when he does give you a surprise, oh my God, does it mean something? If you got blood on Raw, we'd be talking about it for the rest of the year. The problem you've got now is that if you put on an exciting show, that just becomes the norm. And I think this is where AEW have kind of got into a bit of a sticky situation, is that now they put on all this great in-ring action, unless you see something truly exceptional, it's not really going to stand out from the weekly show that you tend to get anyway. And then, like, if you have bloods on so often, that now doesn't really impact. I mean, we got blood at the end. It wasn't a talking point, really. I mean, it was worth mentioning. It's something that's happening, so you mention it, but it's not like, oh my God. It didn't bring me into that main event anymore than, you know, if I got blood in WWE, for example, because that is something we just don't tend to see. So I think that the more that they do, the more that you get desensitized to it, and the harder it is then to impress you. And so that is a problem that AEW have got. You know, it's getting to the point where Tony's having to call the show tonight Quake by the Lake, and on Twitter say, if you're a real AEW fan, you don't want to miss tonight, I've got a big surprise lined up, and please tune in. Like, he's having to do so much. I mean, 2 matches with blood and 2 title matches tonight. TBS championship defended. The AEW championship interim title on the line. He's having to announce, like, he announces all the matches in advance. He's saying, don't miss tonight. And this number will still come out, I reckon, around 900,000. Will it get to 1 million? I don't know. I'd be expecting it to do about the 950 mark, to be honest. Maybe the you don't want to miss tonight might have, you know, increased it a little bit, but this is the point. Vince did just the bare minimum, but still got many of you still tuning in, because what you did get on Raw, those few great moments, were enough to get you to come back the week after. The problem with AEW trying to give you so much on each show is that you will get desensitized, and people have and are getting desensitized, and that is just going to get harder and harder and harder. You're going to need to find other stars to bring in. You're going to need more surprises. You're going to need more blood. You're going to need bigger moments. You know, he's giving you a lot of stuff just on free TV. And you can definitely look at that and go, we shouldn't criticize that. You know, WWE should raise their game, and they are, but they are going to face the same challenges. Triple H is going to face the same challenge. Triple H is going to have the same problem if he now starts giving you killer Raws, killer SmackDowns. That becomes the norm. And then all of a sudden, if it's below that standard, well, it's a bad show. And he gets criticized for it, even though it might still be a show that was way better than the recent Raws we were getting. It would now be perceived differently. So, yeah, this was something I was thinking about how, you know, was Vince a flipping genius? Was he playing a different game to everyone else? Was his idea, give them the stars so they tune in and you're guaranteed to get entrances? Here's Sasha. You know, Sasha just coming out. Oh, here's Sasha. That gives you a little, oh, here's Seth. You know, you get those little moments. They're guaranteed every show. But actual things that happen on the show that kind of really get you excited, was he purposefully keeping them down to a real minimum so that when they did happen, they had a lot more impact? I don't know. Or was he just rubbish and stale and thought he was giving us good shows, but he really wasn't? I don't know. There's definitely a narrative that he was out of touch, and definitely a narrative that he was, you know, why so many rematches and all this kind of stuff. What if it was a plan? What if it was a strategy? What if it was so that when he did something of importance, it actually had impact? I don't know. Did you like how Mox was in the walls of Jericho for the whole commercial break? I found that stupid. Well, that's the problem. The issue I've got is I never know when we're in a commercial break. Because of Fight, unless I manage to catch Excalibur saying, we'll see you, we're going to picture-in-picture or something like that, which I can easily miss because I have to have the sound down. There is nothing on Fight TV, nothing that says we're at commercial break. So I never know when we're at break, when we're not at break or anything. So it's very hard for me to say. I mean, all I can tell you is that that is a big problem, because I would much rather we just had a black screen on Fight TV. And that might be controversial, because you should always want to see those things that people can't see. But to be honest, whether you're in picture-in-picture or you aren't picture-in-picture, the pacing of the matches just completely falls off. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. And the match can be an epic match, and then all of a sudden you get about 30-odd seconds to a minute, maybe even longer, of nothing. And it just completely takes you out of the match. I mean, imagine seeing like this amazing match that builds up, and then out of nowhere it just dies for 2 minutes. And then it starts up again. Like that, it's so hard to explain that, like, if you can't see it yourself, like the effect it has. But I remember they did that during Danielson against Hangman. People going crazy for that match. But for me, like, there was a few moments where the ad breaks happen and it just completely dies, and it just really does hurt the match. So this way of watching has definitely got its flaws. Like, that is, I'd say, the biggest. So I don't know. I mean, was it stupid it was in it for that long? I mean, what I will say is that it was a nice story that he was in it for as long as what he was, but I mean, to be in the walls for that long, you should be selling that thing hard afterwards. If the fact he didn't tap, I think, is annoying, because he's in it for that long. That, as I said, I mean, if I'm Jericho, I'm never doing that move again. I mean, he has just absolutely survived that. But worse than that, shown no effects of it afterwards. There was no falling down, can't walk, like in a lot of pain. There was none of that. The match just, like, after a while, just he got up and off we go. I mean, I remember him putting on chokes and just looking like he was fine. I think he was busted, but that had nothing to do with the walls. So, yeah, I didn't hate the fact that it was on for so long. I think my bigger problem was that the effects of that were not felt or shown afterwards. How much do you think the recent returns on Raw and SmackDown play into the Punk Omega returns? Part of me says no impact, but I do think Tony sees the momentum and needs to counter. I think that he might have got on the phone and he might have been checking a little bit more, when are you back, and saying, WWE, I've obviously got all this going on, we could really do with you. It might have sped things up. I mean, the thing with Punk is that he doesn't need to do anything until All Out. I mean, he can be on the show now. I mean, look, tune in next week, Dynamite, Punk promo. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need to do anything. So, if they've come to the agreement that he's going to be ready and he's going to be good for All Out, then bringing him back now is fine, because you don't need to do anything. Just have him do promos, have him make a few saves, have him on commentary. It's fine. So I'm not, I don't think it's too much of a problem. It's just, is All Out too soon for him? If All Out is too soon, then it becomes a problem. So, yeah, I think it might be playing a part. It's hard to say, isn't it? It might be playing a part. What I would say is, just going back to that last conversation, I think when you're watching Raw and SmackDown, there is a danger that those shows, they're good, but I think the big talking points people take away is Dexter Lumis and Karrion Kross. Very soon we're going to get to the point where those shows are going to have to just be shows without those surprises. Are we going to see those ratings just go back to where they were once that happens? Because you can make these little changes. Do you know what I mean? You can make these changes. You can talk about your history more. Is that going to bring people to tune in? I don't think it will. I love it. I'm all for it. I love the fact that Ciampa wore the Harley Race robe. I love the fact they showed that video package making the United States title feel more prestigious. Does that actually show in ratings? I don't think it does. I think people are tuning in to WWE at the moment to see what Triple H is doing different. And at the moment, you're getting these returns. I mean, we had Dakota come back at SummerSlam. We had on SmackDown, we had Karrion on Raw, we had Dexter. So, we're seeing these kind of returns at the moment. We will get to a point where those returns can't happen, because you can't keep bringing people back. It's not sustainable. You can't keep like adding to the roster and whatever. So it's going to be interesting once it settles down, because it's not settled down yet. Not whilst you're still bringing back all these people. It's not settled down. But that's the problem, isn't it? I think wrestling in 2022, people watch the wrestling, but the conversation is always more about what's the surprise. Like wrestling in 2022 is always about teases, surprises, swerves, and all that kind of stuff. It's never so much about the actual matches and the wrestling. Like, no one tends to freak out so much about moves that get used and the storytelling of matches and all of that kind of stuff. That is very much secondary to surprises and mysteries and things along those lines. Bit of a shame, really. It's a bit of a shame. I wish wrestling was in a different place, a better place, where the focus was more on what was happening in ring and some of the storytelling of the matches, more so than, you know, is the Fiend Bray Wyatt going to return and all this kind of stuff and tweets and things along those lines. But that is where wrestling is right now. You know, wrestling is more about the mystery and the returns. Do you see Omega back next week? I think there's a chance of it, yeah. I can't say 100%, but they need a partner. So, and I've got to be thinking Omega. So, I mean, Hangman's turned him down, unless he's going to change his mind. Unless Dark Order are going to give him permission or something. And say, look, we don't mind you being a part of that. You know, just know that we are here for you whenever, or, you know, and then maybe Hangman ends up going with them. So I feel like there's definitely a good chance Omega next week, but it's not 100% confirmed. Brian said you have to have the storylines these days, which I appreciate. Who do you think Tony Khan should get him to help with booking? Yeah, it's a tricky one, that, because I honestly don't know who has done booking, but I feel like Bryan Danielson has got such a great wrestling mind and a great wrestling understanding. I don't know how much longer he's got left, but he could transition into a booking role. So Bryan Danielson could be used in ring, and I think you could also try and tap into him. I mean, FTR have got a great knowledge of the history of wrestling as well, and, you know, an appreciation for tag team wrestling. I mean, I feel like you're going to need to use the Bucks and Omega and all of those guys, but I feel like we've been down those roads. And, yeah, I think Danielson and FTR, I mean, that, honestly, I'm going to be very honest here, that might just be because they are the wrestlers I enjoyed the most. I mean, like, Danielson, to me, I just love watching his matches. FTR, I just love watching their tag matches. If they were booking, I'm guessing they're just going to give me great stories and more of the kind of wrestling I enjoy watching. So there could be subconsciously a degree of that at play. But I do think that the reason I enjoy their matches is because the psychology and the understanding, the storytelling that's involved, surely makes them good candidates for helping out with the booking side of things. So I don't know about like this Madison Rayne. I really don't know. Don't watch Impact TNA. She could be great. I mean, I didn't see much tonight that like really got me excited, to be honest. But she could be great. I mean, she could be great for the women's division. But I feel like you need people that have been there, done it, got experience. And I think like I'd be looking at FTR and Danielson. I mean, if you wanted people that aren't like active like performers, because you might not want active performers booking the show, that, you know, could be a bit of a conflict of interest. But I don't think Danielson's going to book himself to win. The problem is when you've got like Nash booking and he's making himself a world champion and all that kind of Hogan, mate, no one can beat him. I don't think Danielson would do that. I think Danielson's down to earth and like level-headed. And I think he would recognise that what's best for AEW isn't always him being champion. And so that's why I just don't think it's a problem. I think that he would do what's right. So I think that's why he would be a good candidate. But, I mean, you could have a look at maybe someone like Road Dogg, who I believe was quite involved in the Black and Gold brand of NXT. And there's a lot of praise for that. So, you know, you could always like lean on him. I don't know. It's hard to know how much Tony does, how much he like delegates, and what he allows. I don't think William Regal was ever involved in booking. I think he said that. So I know a lot of people might say Regal, but I don't think he was really ever a booker. Jericho's ideas, I'm not too sure about. Jericho's a little bit out there, isn't he, sometimes with his ideas. So I think you could definitely listen to him, but I don't know that I would have him being like the booker. Yeah, I've got to be saying Danielson and FTR. Do you think Triple H is leaning towards hyping up hardcores with former NXT guys, catering to a niche? I do worry that they'll turn the casuals off with lesser comedy. Well, to be honest, there's not been loads of comedy, and I think that's been all right because he's been seemingly giving us more wrestling and some nice promos, leaning into the history a little bit and giving us returns. But we are going to need comedy because I think that you do need a nice variation. I think it could be a little bit too cold if you don't have like some comedy spots in there. But I think he'll know that. I just don't know. I think comedy, believe it or not, is one of the hardest things to do. Because I think they're trained to have great matches. They know how to tell stories in the ring. They know how to do promos. You know what a great promo looks like. But comedy is really hard because it's a lot more subjective. Like, what I find funny, you might not find funny. But I think we can all reach a more common ground when it comes to, was that a good promo? Was that a good match? I feel like we all can recognize a good match. And it's a bit more similar. I would say there's definitely still differences, though. There's definitely things that Meltzer's given 5 stars to that to me is like 3.5. So I would say it is still subjective, but I think comedy is harder. Because, yeah, you know, Vince loved toilet humor. I mean, the comedy that WWE has been doing was funny to Vince. So Vince and probably kids. Because it was cheap toilet humor stuff. So Vince and kids probably really enjoyed it. Adults, not so much. So it's going to be really hard to put in comedy that's going to be funny to adults. Kids are going to get the joke as well. And yeah, that's going to be hard. So I can understand him not doing it just yet because I think you need the right writers. I think you need the right characters. I think you need to be in the right place for the comedy stuff. So hopefully we get it eventually because it will be very cold without it. Right, we need to wrap this up actually because we're already past a little bit. Going Ghost said Vince was playing chess whilst AEW was playing checkers. I think Vince could see the problems that AEW were going to face with a high payroll and fan expectations. That's interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting because I don't know. I don't know if that is what he's been doing or if he's just got out of touch and allowed it to go stale. But there is a real argument that he was purposefully only giving you a few kind of big moments and the rest of it was purposefully kept relatively flat. So those big moments stood out more. So, Go, shout out to you. Did you see the bump acknowledged the mysterious guy was Dexter Lumis? The commentators said that it was him. It was a whisper, but you could hear it. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, you can see it's him. I think it'd be silly to not. I think that he's someone that was well known in NXT. I suppose it's interesting we're not just ignoring that. I'm glad we're not. But he was in NXT for like 2 years. 3 years even. I think he signed 2019. Yeah, signed 2019 and he left in 2022. He was cut in April. So he's been there for a while. So you could quite clearly see it was him when he took the mask off, when he took the hood off and he was getting dragged away. Commentators would have seen him easily. So commentators would have got a good sight of him. If they whispered it was Dexter Lumis, then yeah, fine. And I think the bump, if they want to be credible, they're all about social media. They've got a guy that sits there at a table that reads tweets. And there's been tons of pictures and video, fan footage of quite clearly Dexter Lumis. So I think it would be weirder if they weren't saying it was Dexter, because we can all see it's not like the face is covered. So if they weren't saying it was Dexter, then that would imply to me that maybe they're going to give him a different name and not acknowledge his backstory. But yeah, I'm pleased that they're doing that. Gives me hope for Indy Hartwell, who was obviously a big part of his backstory. Right, let's end this poll, shall we? Let's end the poll. See how you guys scored it. So, 8 to 10, 45%. 7 to 7.5, 32%. Only 13% went 6 to 6.75. 8%, 5.75 or below. I thought this was fine, fairly solid. I wasn't crazy about it. I wouldn't be in the 8 to 10. I think the Punk return was nice. It probably puts it somewhere, maybe about a 7. 7.25. Maybe about that ballpark for me. Coffin match I thought was all right. I just always find these little moments that just irritants. Just these little things, like how Sting just basically chased off the whole of the House of Black. So, little bits like that. I still thought that it was a strong show. And CM Punk moment was nice. And I actually didn't mind the Young Bucks backstage trying to recruit Hangman. I thought that was a nice little segment as well. Cargill against Madison Rayne didn't really do anything for me, but I do like Athena getting involved. I hope that's going to be a feud. Lucha Bros didn't do anything for me. That's not my kind of thing. FTR coming down was nice. Stark Solo wasn't really around very long. Luchasaurus wasn't really around very long. Yeah, I'd say the opening match, the closing match, CM Punk, that's kind of, what I'm basing this show on. And, yeah, it was all right. Right, we're done. Awesome. Appreciate the support. I hope you enjoyed it, and it seems like many of you did. We will be back on Friday. We just got to get through some streams. Can't wait for this new PC. It's going to be a game changer for us. So, yes, apologies for the disruptions. I'm aware of it. There is a new PC coming next week. All those issues will go away. So, yeah, awesome. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.